right, let's get into the topic. I have been yapping my yapper for less than 15 minutes. So yeah, that's about, I said that's a good point. So like I said, thank you. Why would I cry? Because I don't know how to take a compliment. That's why I'm working on it. But thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you. Oh my gosh, stop distracting me. Oh my gosh. Okay. No notes. We're just going to try to wing it. Okay. We're going to try to get through this as best as possible. And I'm going to do my best to not make it boring. If it gets too boring, y'all know what's going to happen next. I'm busting out with the Darlene, okay? Darlene is coming out. If you think I forgot about the last 2 installments of that sardine challenge, you have lost your marbles, okay? All right? So if you're not into the whole Darlene thing, I suggest y'all assist me in making this a little somewhat entertaining or something like that, and then we'll make do with what we got, all right? So let me get into my screen share. I don't think we're going to like this video, but I'm hoping I don't think we're gonna like the video. Let me just say all that right now. Well, am I being biased by saying that? Well, I don't wanna put my views onto you guys, okay? I don't wanna I'm sorry, Holly. If it ends up being boring, we gotta bust Darlene. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry, not sorry. Okay, I don't want to put my perspective on you guys. So come up with your own feelings about it. But I kind of don't think we're going to like this. And that's because I know that most of us are like Zepbound lifers. So we're going to give them a chance. We're going to see what they talk about. And I'm going to be fair. I'm always fair, okay? I will keep my Zepbound groupiness out of it as much as possible, okay? All right? Please, Lord, no dart. No, I'm sorry. Them's the rules. Them's the rules. If it get a little dry, I got to trigger the people. Okay. I got to trigger the people. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Can I get some green hearts if you guys are ready to get started? If you guys are ready to get started, can I have some green hearts? Now, Delilah's going to pop in like 30 minutes into the video or an hour and be like, damn it, I didn't get a notification. Okay. So y'all just going to have to get her caught up to speed. But I know y'all be having side conversations in the chat. So I'm just going to sit here and act like I don't see y'all until I get some green hearts in the chat. Let me start checking other stuff in my life. Come on, people. We got one. We got reindeer. Is reindeer the only one that's ready? Let's go. Hello. Now, Jen is probably busy. We got Nicole. And we got Jen. All right. I'll take it. Let's get started. All right. So I'm going to start with one of the timestamps that I felt was more on the relevant side. I'm going to skip the intro and all of that. But like I said, I don't think it'll make it too misleading. So let's start with, are GLP-1s actually beneficial?
Let's talk about that. So the fact that you can say people are losing more weight on these drugs than any other drug in the history, most people would take that as a positive thing.
Today's Delilah's birthday? How did I not know that? Wait, is it really? Today's Delilah's birthday? Is it? I feel like Jen is trolling me. Hold on. Is it really? How do you know that? How do I not know that? Wait, no, now I have to check. Hold on. Really? Oh, it was yesterday. I missed it? I've been live twice and nobody said anything. Oh my God, am I just like that lost in the sauce? Hold on, let me go to her YouTube. Where does it say that it's her birthday? I didn't see a birthday post. How do you guys know that? Oh, she did? Oh, okay. All right. So I'm not just like a bad person, right? Because she didn't put it on YouTube. She didn't put it. Like, I didn't see it. So I guess you kind of just had to know. Okay, well, happy belated birthday to Delilah. And if she comes in, I will see her. Because she was in my live stream yesterday. And I didn't see any happy birthdays, or maybe I missed it. Okay, I'm sorry. Happy birthday, Delilah. All right, let's get back to the video. I was just trying to make sure I wasn't like a bad person for like missing it, but I really just didn't know. All right, let's get back to the video.
So you don't necessarily see that as an overwhelming positive statement. So help us clarify that.
Yeah. So a lot of my view on the current use of these drugs is that they are a little too much of a good thing. So with the use of the drug, we need to appreciate what GLP-1 does. And GLP-1 has
a little bit too much of a good thing, right? I feel like he's trying to modestly shade GLP-1s. But I am gonna let him speak. But it's like anything can be too much of a good thing, right? Like you're not really saying anything special by saying that. Let's see what else he has to say.
myriad effects throughout the body. Yes, on the alpha cells of the pancreas, regulating glucagon. Yes, receptors on the intestine, regulating the movement of the smooth muscle, or in other words, the rate at which food is moving through the gut. But also, too, there are effects at the hypothalamus in the brain, which influence satiety and hunger. In fact, reducing hunger, promoting a sense of satiety. And when you combine that central brain effect of promoting a sense of fullness with the slower movement of food through the intestines, that is a dynamite combination of helping someone just want to eat less. Now, it is a little too much of a good thing where you are starting to there are enough consequences that have been revealed in the published literature that I've tried to be a voice of caution, but I somewhat regret that some people have assumed that I am just universally opposed. I'm actually not universally opposed.
I want to know what these effects are that he's talking about, and I'll have to keep watching it because I never finished the video. I have to keep watching it to see what he says because they all say this. They all say GLP-1s have been around for decades. I've been aware of them for decades in the treatment of diabetes. They've been wonderful. But the second they get into talking about using it for weight loss, suddenly we have to be afraid of all of these side effects. So let's see if he says what they are.
I just think that I am opposed to how they're currently used, which is that the dose is too high and that they are prescribed with the language being, this is a weight loss drug. When I actually think we don't do the patient any good when we describe it as a weight loss drug, because we ought to be using it in a way to improve habits. Now, before I even mention the habit part of it,
I would agree. Ooh, did I lie to y'all? Am I actually gonna like this a little bit? Sydney said she liked it. I agree. I do not subscribe to calling GLP-1s weight loss drugs. I have been saying that for the longest, and I think this is the first doctor, or was it Nadolsky? I think it was him. I think this is the first doctor that I've ever heard say, I don't know if we should be calling these drugs weight loss drugs. Like that's a little misleading, right? Like you might be doing the patient a disservice by calling them weight loss drugs. And I 1000% agree. And it's really not up for debate. They're not weight loss drugs. Like you're not guaranteed weight loss if you get on a GLP-1. Lots of people lose weight enough for them to be marketed as weight loss drugs, but they're not weight loss drugs. That's not what they are. But I don't mind using them for weight loss. I really don't. Like I have no beef with that. Also, while at the same time knowing that technically they are not weight loss drugs. We are growing to grow a tail. We might. Let's see. Because I agree with what he's saying so far.
And my ideal use of the drug, if used at all, I just want to mention that there are consequences to the currently prescribed use of these drugs, including a significantly elevated risk of blindness that just came out within the last month, a 2-fold increased risk of blindness, and the consequences on overall body mass.
Is that true? The blindness thing? You can buy into that idea. Okay. I've heard the blindness thing a couple of times. And y'all know I'll be squinting on these videos, all right? So maybe, I hope I'm not going blind from Zepbound. But have y'all heard about the blindness thing? Health professionals shouldn't be calling them that. I would agree. Oh my gosh, bone check sidebar. Nicole, like it's too early for this many sidebars. Sidebar, bone check, people. I did not want to do this, but since Nicole wants to be vain and talk about her butt bone, I'm gonna do this. I did a bone check recently and it was kind of accidental. I was just kind of like rubbing on my shoulders, and I'm getting like, I don't know what, I guess it's a shoulder bone. I've been playing around with like this portion of my shoulder lately because there's like no fat. Like if you look overall, there's still fat here, right? But there's this one, hold on, let me get your comment out of the way. There's this like one portion like right here. There's like this one portion right here that just like keeps poking through. And whenever I'm like massaging my arms or putting on lotion, it sticks out so much, and it's on both sides. You guys can't see it yet, but it's like it's right here. It's just like, and I'm like, what bone is that? Is that my shoulder bone? Like I don't know. What is it called? Bone check, guys. Bone check. No. Yes. You can also go blind from uncontrolled type 2 diabetes. I would agree. I heard about the blindness with semi, but not TERS. What? Bone check? I can see it. There's a situation going on right here. There's a situation going on right here, and it's on both sides, and it's completely bony. Have you guys done a bone check lately? Okay, sidebar over. I just wanted to share that since Nicole wanted to talk about her butt bone. Whatever. I found a good explanation video from a weight loss doctor about the blindness issue. I'll send it to you, Vanity. I also asked my ophthalmologist. What? Hold on. No, I will not move on in this video until I learn how to pronounce this word. Because you didn't say optometrist. It says ophthalmologist. What is an ophthalmologist? I don't know what that is. What is an should I know that? Ophthalmologist sounds made up, but I'm pretty sure it's not. What is that? What does an ophthalmologist do? Diagnose and treat conditions affecting a patient's eye and or vision. So, okay, like, is optometrist not a thing? Did I just make that up? No, like optometrist is a thing. Y'all probably answering, but oh well, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to Google. What does an optometrist do? Provides primary care by conducting eye exams, diagnosing and treating vision problems and common eye conditions. So now I got to know the verses. I mean, I need to know like hold on. No, hold on. I'm sorry if y'all are answering. Oh well, I can't see y'all. I only got one screen. I'm on Google. Optometrists and ophthalmologists are both healthcare professionals specializing in eye care. However, they have different training. Optometrist holds a doctor of optometry degree. Okay, and an ophthalmologist, ophthalmologist, I think that's how you say it, holds a doctor of medicine. Oh, they're an MD. Man, whatever. Okay, whatever. I knew y'all were going to be answering in the chat. My bone check is my collarbone. Yes, we did the collarbone check. You got to check the rest of your bones, reindeer. Ophthalmologist. Okay, I got it. I worked on it. Okay, hey, Nade. Eye surgeon. Treats eye diseases. Okay, whatever. Hey, Mona Lisa. That's who makes glasses. Okay, all right. One is MD, specializes in eye. Okay, all right, cool. Y'all got it. They go a little more in depth. You can actually use your medical health insurance at an ophthalmologist visit. Oh, let me go find one of them. I'm gonna go put that on my calendar. I'm putting that on my calendar. I love when y'all put me on different types of specialists. Like I didn't even know obesity specialist is. Well, I guess I knew, but it never dawned on me to like see one. Ophthalmologist. Okay. I think that's a funny way to spell that, but whatever. Okay. All right. So now that cool. Okay. So the blindness. Okay. So Vanity. Sydney is going to be sending me a video that explains the whole blindness issue, because the way that I see the blindness thing, I haven't researched it, but the way that I see it is the same way I see the thyroid issue, right? The risk of thyroid cancer, but it's like, explain, right? Because if you explain it a little bit more, then it's like, oh, it's not quite, that's not quite necessarily something that everybody needs to worry about. But if you've had it before, or if you're at risk for it, or if you have it in your family, then yeah, it's something that you want to be concerned about, right? So the whole blindness thing, I would need to know more. Bone check. Oh God, we're back to the sidebar. Okay, so let me finish up my thought. I would need to know more about the blindness thing, but let's see if he goes into it. And I also need to look at the video that Sydney's going to send me. Okay, Nade, sidebar, bone check. I'm starting to have an actual knee again. Yes, the knees are boning. I didn't know I had knees. In fact, I only knew I had knees because they hurt. but I couldn't actually, like, they were full of fat. Like, they were totally covered in fat. And actually, like, certain areas hurt more now that I'm losing fat, like in the hips, you know what I mean? And in the knees, I think I'm like losing some of my cushioning or whatever. We're going to be doing a weekly bone check. I don't care. I don't care. Whatever. We're vain. All right. So let's get back into the video.
Where a 2-year trial found that of the total weight lost, roughly 40% was coming from fat-free mass. Now, that doesn't mean it's all muscle and bone, but it certainly means some of it is muscle and bone. That is sobering in light of the fact that over 70% of patients in the United States get off the drug at 2 years for whatever reason, cost or access, or they get tired of feeling a little nauseous, which is how a person feels when the stomach slows down as much as it does. And what do they gain back? Well, the human body will readily gain back fat, but depending on the age and even the sex of the individual, they may never gain back that muscle and bone mass, even as modest as it was. That's gone.
I don't like when people, okay, I listen in between the lines, right? Like, I don't read between the lines. I listen in between the lines. And I don't like when people conflate something that's true with a bunch of other stuff to validate what they were saying, right? So if we go back a little bit, he talked about how when people lose weight on a GLP-1, a lot of that weight is fat-free mass, right? So bone and muscle, fluids, and all of that other stuff. We know that to be true, correct? Like, we know that. We've heard time and time again of people losing a significant amount of weight on a GLP-1 very quickly, and most of it, or a significant portion of it, being muscle. That's actually what I discussed in the video that I was pre-recording before I started this live stream. But then he goes on to try to like support that by saying that people get off of the drug, most people get off of the drug in 2 years. But when he talks about people getting off of the drug in 2 years, he talks about legitimate reasons like accessibility and cost. So which is it? Are they getting off of the drug in 2 years because they're losing a lot of bone and muscle mass? Or are they getting off of the drug in 2 years because of cost and accessibility, or side effects like nausea, like he says? Which one is it? Because, you know, you talked about one and then started to use other things as an example. Bernadette says, when I get my annual eye exam, I see both the optometrist and ophthalmologist. One does my glasses, contacts, the other does my medical exam, like a field test, glaucoma, retina, pictures, etc. So is my optometrist an ophthalmologist? Because I get all that done. I get it all done at once. Like when I go for my annual eye exam. No, get out, Delilah. Get out, Delilah. Get out, Delilah. Sidebar. I did not know yesterday was your birthday. And I'm going to make a huge goddamn scene about it, okay? Okay? Because I feel like a bad person because I didn't say happy birthday. And I didn't know until like 10 minutes ago. So happy birthday, Delilah. But I need you to go out. I need you to go out because I need some space. Okay, I'm over it like that quick. Don't leave. Okay. Love you, Delilah. All right, so let me get back to this really quickly. I'm sorry about my rant. I have moments. Okay. So when I go get my annual, I get my retina pictures, I get my glaucoma test, I get all of that done at once. So have I been seeing an ophthalmologist this whole time and I didn't know it? Maybe. I don't know. I just always called them an optometrist. Okay, Delilah. See, I didn't even read your comment. I was just talking shit. But happy birthday, girl. Delilah says, hey, everyone, I had a menopause moment and thought when Nicole said 6, I assumed my time. Oh, gosh. Okay. You aren't the first and you won't be the last to rip me a new one. Whatever. It matters most that I'm ripping it. Okay. All right. Happy birthday. Happy belated. Happy belated. This is a big deal because I want to know stuff. I'm having this weird like deja vu moment and I don't know why. It's probably because I have these sidebars often where I'm like tripping balls over something. So it's starting to get to the point where it feels like it's happened before. Probably because it has over something different. Okay. All right. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Let's get some balloons and hearts in the chat for Delilah's birthday. Okay. Happy birthday to her, even though she didn't share with us because we're not important over here. Whatever. So I don't like what he's doing here. I don't like what he's doing here, but I am going to continue. Okay. You guys continue dropping your happy birthdays, but I know y'all are still listening.
Probably for good. And one last nail in the coffin, I would say, is with regards to why I'm opposed to these drugs as they're currently used. It's the effect on emotional well-being, where we often hype up the effects of the food noise, where the person's cravings are gone for junk food, for various foods. And we'll revisit that in a moment. But what if the reality is that their cravings for many things they used to enjoy are gone? And what I mean by that is there is about a 200% increased risk of major depression in these individuals on the drug versus placebo.
A 200% increased risk? Is that true? Let's look it up. Because he's saying these drugs and using like GLP-1s as a monolith, when GLP-1s is just a category of drugs, but they all are different. You know what I mean? Increased risk of depression on tirzepatide. Let's see. I would have to research this because just the AI overview, and AI is not the end all be all, but it says tirzepatide's official labeling does not list an increased risk of depression, but other studies and analyses have identified potential psychiatric adverse events, including depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation as a potential risk of the drug class. Okay. With some research showing both a potential risk and a decreased risk of depression, depending on the patient population. Okay, so what the hell? So it could either okay, all right. See, this is stupid. This is stupid. This is gonna take way longer than I thought, because I'm gonna just be like, I'm just gonna be like researching everything that he says, because I don't take his word for anything. I don't take anybody's word for anything. But it's like, even the AI definition says, depending on the population of patients that you're talking about, there can be an increased risk for depression or a decreased risk for depression. I feel less depressed since being on tirzepatide. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? Like, I feel happier with my life. So like, but he's getting at, if people are losing their desire to eat, how that can be psychologically and emotionally impactful. Like, that can impact them in that way, which I get. But it's like, it depends on which group of people you're talking about, and he's not giving that caveat. So I don't really like that. I feel like this is misleading. I really do.
As well as an over 100% increased risk of anxiety and even suicidal behaviors.
Okay. What does that even mean though? Like if my risk for anxiety is 2% and there's a 100% risk of increased, anxiety, so I go from like a 2% risk to like a 4% risk? Can y'all am I saying this correctly? Like, if a group of people, right, depending on their circumstance, have like a 15%, or let's say I don't know, like let's say an 8% chance or risk for they're at like about an 8% risk for anxiety. So if it increases by 100%, that's like 16%. Is that how that works? I don't know. Because he's throwing out these numbers as if they mean something without clarifying. Like, what if you I guess nothing can be zero, but like, what if you have like a really chill lifestyle? Like you are really in tune with your stress factors, and your risk of anxiety is very, very freaking low. 100% increased risk doesn't really impact you very much. I don't know. I'm going to pause and make sure I'm not talking to myself. So if you guys are following, you let me know. If not, then I'm just going to sit here and eat my chicken. I don't want to sit here and eat it. Y'all don't care. I just want to make sure I'm not talking to myself. You guys let me know. Okay. So Jen says she felt less seasonal depression this year. Well, the season where that would come up for me hasn't come yet. It would be like late fall into winter. So it hasn't started to cool off here yet. Well, no, I'm lying. It started to cool off, but it hasn't. I haven't noticed the change in like daylight yet, right? So when as we go into daylight savings ending and we have less daylight, that's when those symptoms will come up for me. So the jury's still out. Okay, Mona Lisa is listening. It's okay, V. You talk to yourself and eat chicken while we talk amongst ourselves. I don't mind. I don't mind. I threw some chicken in the air fryer before I got on here, and I don't mind eating. I'm not even gonna go off camera to do it because who the hell are you guys? Who the hell are you? Why do I have to go off camera to eat my chicken? I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay. All right. We're all listening. I know. Okay, cool. Got it. Just checking. All right. So I'm not feeling what he's saying so far, but let's continue.
So one way of perhaps more honestly describing the reduced cravings for food they shouldn't be eating may be to say that you just aren't going to like anything as much as you used to like. In other words, you have a dude who is less interested in getting together with his friends to go bowling, or you have a gal who's less interested in going for a walk around the block with her girlfriends from her neighborhood or something. And so you have people who just may be less interested in all of the things that used to find them to bring them joy. And this may be the reality that explains the significant effect on mood disorders.
I'm no doctor, but wouldn't he be describing SSRIs? Are SSRIs the ones used for? Wait, hold on. Right, SSRIs are the one is the medication class. I think it's a class for mood disorders, but they work by deregulating. Is it upregulating? Let me see really quickly. Okay, so depression. So SSRIs increase the levels of serotonin in the brain, which can improve mood and reduce symptoms of depression. SSRIs work by blocking the reuptake of serotonin in the brain, which increases its availability. This mechanism of action is thought to help regulate mood and reduce symptoms of mental health conditions. Um, but what is the drug class that maybe it's the ADHD medication? I forget which class of drugs down regulates your serotonin. Is it the dopamine or is it the serotonin? Hold on. Antipsychotics. Most antipsychotic medications work by acting as dopamine antagonists, meaning they bind to and block dopamine receptors, preventing dopamine from having its effect. Okay, schizophrenia. Okay, so it's used to treat conditions like schizophrenia, where hyperactivity of the dopamine system is thought to contribute to symptoms. Okay. All right, so I guess it was the antipsychotics that I was thinking about, and the reason that I was bringing that up is because it sounds like he's talking about the downregulation of dopamine, which is not what he's saying, but that the symptoms that he's giving, or the not symptoms, but the side effects that he's giving are similar to like antipsychotics. Like the antipsychotic class of medication works by downregulating your dopamine, which is a happy hormone. Um, they downregulate your dopamine and it makes you lose interest in like essentially everything. Like it downregulates your reward system so that you pretty much, as a negative side effect, lose interest in everything. Why he's saying this happens with GLP-1s and where he's getting this from, I don't know. Maybe I should start a poll. Because I don't know where he's getting this from. I have no idea. Where he's getting this from. Okay. So are you a GLP-1 lifer? 67% said yes, 6% said no, and 28% said undecided. 28% saying undecided is a significant amount. That's interesting. All right. So start a poll. Mm. Rewarding. All right. The question is, have you lost interest in rewarding activities since starting a GLP-1? Okay. Because he described going bowling with your friends, like, oh, a guy may not want to go bowling with his friends anymore. Since when does being on a GLP-1 make you not want to go bowling or like hang out with people? You can see by the chat that people are listening. However, we know how to multitask and talk about other things as well. He does a lot of videos with Dr. Fung. Okay. The only thing I'm less interested in is food. Okay. Aren't SSRIs getting all kinds of flack right now for not ever working? I have no idea. No clue. I have heard of Wellbutrin being prescribed to some GLP-1 patients. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. I used to watch a male YouTuber on Manjaro and he had to stop taking it because his depression was getting worse. He shut down his YouTube channel as well. I would need to know more. I would need to know more. Is there a hell nah option? I think the bald guy has his own channel as well. So you might have come across his channel. I don't understand because, okay, if you are a food addict and you lose access to your best friend being food, not lose access to it, but lose the desire to self-soothe with it, I could see why that can be depressing at first. I can see that. But he's describing other stuff like not wanting to interact with friends, family, not really wanting to interact in life, and this being extremely detrimental. You know, I don't really know where he's getting that from. And as far as the person that was experiencing worsened depression symptoms, I would have to know. There's so many questions that go along with that. Like, what else was going on in their life? Like hypothetically, right? Like, let's say you're prone to depression or symptoms of depression, or you're diagnosed with major depressive disorder, and your support system is your friend group, but your friend group starts to treat you differently because you've lost weight, right? Let's say your whole entire friend group is overweight and they start to treat you different because you lost weight and it makes you feel more depressed. Is that tirzepatide making you feel more depressed or your GLP-1 making you feel more depressed? Like there's so many questions. Like I don't know. I would have to know more. I would have to know so much more. I know many people who go on any weight loss journey and stop doing any outings because they don't want to be tempted by food or judgment. That is true.
So that's why those are some of my main concerns that really, I think, justify some heavy caution with the current use of the drugs.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point about just less interest in everything and not just food. I hadn't seen so much about that, so that's very interesting to hear about. And we've done content here about the psychiatric potential impacts with.
I'm sorry, did y'all hear that? Why did they just glaze over that way? I'm sorry. Why did they just glaze over that? Why did they just glaze over that? He's like, yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't heard much about that, so that's interesting to hear about. You hadn't heard about it because I don't think that's a thing. I think he's making that up. I think he's making that up. He's like, yeah, you know, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that. Yeah, no, who has heard that? Like outside of some outliers, right? Outside of some people that belong to an at-risk group, right? You're at risk for depression, you're at risk for anxiety, right? You have some of those traits. But outside of that group, for the average person who loses interest in life because they're on a GLP-1, he's making that up. But whatever, okay, like I said, he's borrowing that from a different class of medications, and it's the antipsychotics, which that's exactly what they do. They downregulate your reward system because they're assuming the psychosis, right? Like schizophrenia and all these different things. They're assuming that comes from overstimulated dopamine receptors. So if you downregulate that reward system, it'll like even people out. But the backlash to that is that it's like a double-edged sword, because then they kind of lose interest in everything. They lose interest in sex, they lose interest in food, they lose interest in people, fun, life. it's like it's a double-edged sword. That's not reported to be a thing with GLP-1s, I don't think. But if you guys know better, you let me know.
With some studies showing no worsening, but all those studies exclude anybody with any kind of a psychiatric history, and those that don't.
You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Like, you see what I mean? He just said the studies show not a like there's no worsening of those symptoms, but those studies don't include people that are already suffering from those things. So why are we he should be challenging him on that. He should be challenging him on that. Like, no, well, actually, for average people, the opposite is true. But I can see what you mean for an at-risk group, right? For the people we already know are suffering from those things, but the jury is still out because they weren't that group wasn't a part of the studies. Y'all see what I mean? Hi, G's. GLP-1 lifer. Treats so much more than weight. Yes, exactly. I would agree. I feel like this dude should be getting some pushback, but he's not. Like the host is really trying to like keep it even, but also saying like, yeah, well, no, I mean, that's not what the studies say, but no, push back, like challenge him on that.
Sort of the real world evidence suggests something completely different, that there could be an increased risk for those who are predisposed to depression.
Those who are predisposed. I'm not even a doctor, and I can say this before he says it. And I didn't even make it to this portion of the video. This is common sense. Like, of course, for those that are predisposed, there's a plethora of medications that have warnings about psychological effects worsening. Suicidal? I don't want to say the word suicidal thoughts or whatever, you know what I mean? Symptoms of depression and anxiety, like all of the, like there's plenty of different classes of medications that will make those things worse in people that are already predisposed, right? The scary part is if you never like were predisposed and then you suddenly become a part of that population because of the medication, but that's not true for GLP-1s. So he's making it up. Yeah, he doesn't push back at all. I don't like either of them. I told you. I don't know. Let's continue.
Suicidality or whatever the case may be. So that's really interesting. But just to go back to the muscle loss or the lean body mass loss, it sort of highlights that weight loss isn't necessarily the goal, but improved metabolic health is the goal. And losing fat and gaining muscle is a perfect combination for improving metabolic health. But losing fat and muscle can still improve metabolic health, as these studies have shown, but makes me wonder about the long-term consequences of that with decreased muscle mass. And then to throw on top of that, though, some people are saying, well, it's the same thing with weight loss surgery. It's the same thing with severe caloric restriction. You see the same percentage of lean mass loss, so that makes it okay. So I want to get your impression on those two things, both, justifying it that way and also the impact on long-term metabolic health.
Yeah, so I do think it is appropriate to compare the use of the GLP-1 drugs to other very often relied on weight loss interventions like gastric bypass and the other one you mentioned. It was gastric bypass.
Severe caloric restriction.
Very, very low calorie diet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually, the reason I mention that is just from the scientific perspective, which is that it helps us understand how a person is losing this weight, even this good weight, if you will, the lean mass potentially on the drug, because it does suggest that it's not a direct effect of the drug itself, but rather an artifact of the fact that they're just not really eating as much as they were.
It's not an artifact of the drug. Why are you talking like that? It's not an artifact of the drug. You mean a side effect? You mean a result of? Like, we know this, right? Like, okay, maybe I'm assuming people know this. GLP-1s don't cause muscle loss, just like they don't cause fat loss, because GLP-1s don't cause weight loss. The resulting weight loss, fat loss, and or muscle loss is from eating less. He's not saying anything like he's stating the obvious here, but I'll let him continue. Sydney says, after researching my goal, after reaching my goal, I plan to go down to a 2.5 for maintenance and maybe only take a dose every other week. However, I won't know until I get there and experiment with what works for me. Yeah, I had planned to do some experimentation with titrating down, but honestly, I'm so in love with the similogram. I don't think I have any desire to titrate down anymore. But, as I go on, my feelings change. So we'll see. But definitely keep us updated with how it works out for you, Sydney. Jen says, I'm going to assume those same people were depressed before GLP-1s. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Yes, very much. Yes, Holly. He's not stating anything that isn't already known, but let's continue.
Before, and even maybe what they are eating is being very poorly absorbed. That's certainly part of the consequence of so significantly slowing the rate at which food is moving through the intestine. And so that's an interesting just point for people to take away from how you phrased the question, which is that it does at least bring some comfort to the fact that it's not a direct effect of the drug, for example, or in other words, it doesn't mean the semaglutide is somehow directly damaging muscle tissue. But again, it's rather just a feature of the overall metabolic milieu as someone who is perhaps poorly nourishing their body. Yeah, but further, it's not like those interventions, severely restricting calories and undergoing gastric bypass, don't have a rebound themselves. That we know that the people who attempt to lose weight just through calorie restriction alone, with that being the intention, that's also the intention. That is the mechanism whereby people lose weight on The Biggest Loser game show. And there's a reason you never see these people again, because once they're off the air, they can't continue this starvation-induced model, and then hunger always wins. Moreover, even the rate at which people regain weight with gastric bypass is quite sobering, where they can start to out-eat the physical restrictions of the gut. What was once a very small little stomach, because of the surgical restriction of it, the intestines have this remarkable ability to be somewhat dynamic or plastic, if you will, and then they can start to stretch out again with repeated stretching. And before the person knows,
I feel like he's saying a whole lot of nothing. Like, why are we glossing over the fact that he just said that the muscle loss is not a result of the GLP-1? But okay, like, why are we glossing over that?
back to eating how they were before. With the use of the drug, it's actually even simpler than that, which is that this phenomenon of diminishing returns, where you have too much of a signal. In fact, there is evidence to suggest this, although it's in animals, that with repeated GLP-1 activation, the signal starts to decay. In other words, too much of a signal will result in a resistance to the signal, which is
this applies. Oh God, I hate these people. Not these people, like not these two in particular, but like this talking point of like, okay, he says that he the way that he talks irritates my soul, because he won't just say what he means. Too much, like the signal starts to decay. You mean the receptors downregulate? Like, this happens with any hormonal intervention. I mean, any hormonal intervention or drugs, right? Alcohol, right? You consume too much of it, and then what happens? The receptors will remove themselves from the surface of the cell, and then you need more and more of the substance to get the same effect. This applies to everything. This is not unique to GLP-1s, which I would really like it if Eli Lilly will do studies on cycling in and out of GLP-1 usage. So you give those receptors time to upregulate, right? So you reduce your usage or your dose or come off of it altogether. Those receptors have time to come back to the surface, and then you come back on it, and it's like you get a whole reset. That I'm not recommending that. I would like for them to do the research so that they can explain to people how to do that properly and safely. But it's like, this is not unique. You're just talking about down regulating like receptors. Like, that's all you're talking about. He's not, oh my God, he's annoying. Like, he over explains stuff as if he's saying something complex. But for people that have a little bit of information, like I don't have a whole lot, but I got a little bit of information. It's like, dude, why are you over explaining something that is so simple? Especially for people that may not be familiar, make it very simple. The GLP-1 is a GLP receptor agonist, right? it's going to target that GLP-1 receptor. If you use it too much, those receptors will start to remove themselves, right? In an effort to protect, itself. That happens with anything. That happens with anything, but whatever. I mean, it's take enough heroin, that'll happen with that as well. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Sydney says I'm 10 pounds from my goal, so I'm beginning to give some thought as to my short and long-term plan. I like the added health benefits that I get from Zepbound, so that's why I'm thinking I'll continue. Okay, double talk, very much so. The 7.5 Zepbound has been kicking my tail, so I know I can't continue on this level for maintenance. Because you're within 10 pounds, maybe, but I would say you never know. You never know. You might even out on that 7.5. Research on someone else, then let me know if I should. What? I think, did I miss Jen's comment? I think those were mostly people. Okay. All right. So you were responding to the earlier comment. All right. I find him to be annoying, but let's continue.
Fundamental principle of biology. What too much of a signal will result in a resistance to the signal, which is a fundamental.
Anybody ever heard of insulin resistance? Oh God, I hate to even like pull that card, but like too much of a signal will result in resistance. You mean like insulin resistance, which is also a hormone? You build up resistance to that hormone because it's constantly being stimulated. Genius. Like you're not, whatever. Let him finish. Whatever.
Principle of biology, whether it's cancer biology and chemotherapeutics, whether it's antibiotics to treat infections, and even hormones.
Good point. So now he's explaining that this happens with anything. It happens with antibiotics. It happens with other hormonal interventions. Okay.
Too much of a signal will result in the decay or the loss of that signal over time, and GLP-1 would be no exception to this. So we see the diminishing returns of the drug, which is one of the reasons why.
No, I can't let it play. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. So he throws in there exactly what I was saying before he said it. So I guess I could have just let him talk, but he throws in there like this happens with antibiotics. You get antibiotic resistance. This happens with other hormones. So GLP-1s are no different. Exactly. So if you're going to talk about diminishing returns, because when you take too much of a GLP-1, you'll start to lose your signal or whatever he's talking about. Should we stop taking antibiotics, or do we need to take antibiotics more responsibly? And patients should be better educated. Should we stop taking insulin and other hormones, or should we use them more responsibly? They should be prescribed more responsibly, and patients need to be more educated. Like why is it that for the GLP-1, the diminishing returns are adding up, but you just said that there are other examples of overutilization that will get you the same result? So he must be on board for, like, he must be anti-penicillin then, penicillin or any other type of antibiotic, because it's the same result. But GLP-1s get the bashing. I don't get it. And when we talk, and like he's only talking about from an obesity standpoint, because the second we start talking about type 2 diabetics, we're not talking about down-regulating receptors anymore. We're not talking about signals being lost anymore. Diabetics can take that 15 milligram just the way an obese person can, or an obese diabetic. Are you not concerned with that diabetic down-regulating their receptors? Or is it just because it depends on why you're taking the drug? If you're taking it because you're fat, if you're taking it because you want to lose some weight, then you need to worry about these things. But if you're taking it because you're diabetic, then it works so well for the diabetes. Don't even worry about the other stuff. No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
I would imagine people are getting off it at such a high rate because it just stops working like it used to.
Right. If you're still getting the side effects and the bill to have to pay for it, but not seeing the benefits, why would you continue it? Yeah. Well, so obviously here at Metabolic Mind, we focus on metabolic health and mental health. And the reason why I like to talk so much about these medications is because they do have an impact on metabolic health, but also that, as you mentioned, they have direct brain effects. And part of that could be for cravings. Like we know a big part of overeating leading to obesity and type 2 diabetes and poor metabolic health is cravings, is just, you could say, the brain going haywire, so to speak. And it's not necessarily willpower. It's not necessarily just, white knuckle it, but your brain is almost being hijacked. So a lot of what you wrote in this article about maybe a new way to use these GLP-1s focused on craving. So tell us about that, how you got into that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a paper. So I need to give some credit to Arnie Ostrup.
Maybe we're just ahead of these doctors because we had this conversation and we feel like over here that cravings and food noise are two completely different things. Do we still feel that way? Do y'all still feel that way? That cravings and food noise are two completely different things. Would y'all say? Like my food noise is quiet, but I still have cravings. I was craving some chicken wings tonight. Like, you know what I mean? Are we just like ahead of the curve, or like are these doctors so in their own bubble that they're not like considering what the streets are saying, like the actual people on the medication? They're just talking from their high horse when it's like that's not actually how it works. It, for the people that are taking it, trust us. Trust us when we say that's not how it works. That you wouldn't get it because you haven't, like, you got, it's kind of like you got to be there. Like you got to kind of be on a GLP-1 to get it, specifically tirzepatide, because sema with the food noise is like hit or miss. But for tirzepatide, it's kind of like you got to be on it to get it. You just kind of got to be there. So I don't know, maybe we're just on a different realm or spectrum than these doctors.
Who is in Denmark, and he has been really at the forefront of GLP-1 research, maybe since its inception. I was at an event with him, and he had mentioned a compelling perspective, which now in hindsight seems obvious, but it's not one that I'd considered, which is that he had said, what if some people just don't have a sufficient GLP-1 response to food, and that's what's driving the obesity? And that
we literally talked about this. I'm gonna let him finish. Okay. We talked about this. Like, what if some people don't have a no, it was I'm sorry, it was the opposite. What if the non-responders, we were talking about non-responders. So what if the people that are slow or non-responders don't have a deficiency with GLP-1? That's why the medication doesn't work for them. That's what we were talking about.
it was an offhand comment, and I'm sure for him it wasn't, and he was thinking of a dozen studies that he could readily cite, although none of which would have been familiar to me because it was such a novel view for me. But to say all this another way, there was a paper published in the journal Gut by Ranganath et al., and anyone could look this up. It is fascinating. What they did in 1996, which, Brett, was a wonderful year to graduate from high school, class of 96, but also a fascinating year to make a seminal discovery in the relevance potentially of GLP-1 when it comes to obesity and its origins. Neither you nor I are saying that calories don't matter, but you and I both have a more nuanced view, not to put words in your mouth, but that there needs to be an endocrine component that allows the fat cell, or that enables the fat cell to even store that energy in the first place, and that would be the hormone insulin. And so when you appreciate...
I kind of don't even want to do my video anymore. I kind of don't even want to do the video that I was pre-recording. I'm going to still do it, but it's going to sound like redundant now. Well, I guess I still need to do it for the people that aren't catching this live stream. But for those that are here, this is like my video. When I put it out, it's going to sound a bit redundant because I'm so familiar with a lot of this stuff. This is where I get my information from. So what he's explaining now about insulin and fat storage, I literally talk about in my video. But let him continue.
The necessity of insulin telling the fat cell to store that energy, and then the need for sufficient calories to fuel that storage into the fat cell. It does leave you with a unique perspective that has you say, okay, well, then what will spike insulin the most? And of course, that's going to be dietary carbohydrates. Now, to bring all of this back to GLP-1, in this Ranganath study in the journal Gut in 1996, they took people and separated them into two groups. So imagine two people. Now, I'm oversimplifying, but one is lean, one is obese. They eat a carbohydrate-heavy meal. The lean guy eats that same amount of carbohydrate, and his brain has told him, you're done. You don't need more. And so he pushes the plate away. He's done. He gets up and he leaves. But his buddy, his roommate, his college roommate, eats that same amount of carbohydrate, and he does not get the signal telling him to stop. In fact, not only does he not get the stop signal, as GLP-1 goes down, which it did at around 2 to 3 hours, not only did he not stop, he may want more. And now we have this I think, an alternate, a different paradigm here when we look at GLP-1 and its potential utility. Because what if, based on that study and others like it, rather than saying, we're going to give you this drug for weight loss, the individual thinking it is just a magic intervention that they can still eat whatever they want, but the drug is going to help them lose weight, which is not true. The drug helps the person lose weight as it changes habits. And what is the habit that perhaps changes the most when it comes to diet? It is controlling carbohydrate consumption, or the...
Oh, he stole I did not make it this far into this video. This hoe done stole my whole video topic. This hoe done stole my whole video topic. Now I agree with what he's saying here. I will have it in a more condensed form, but I agree with what he's saying here. This is what I was talking about. Reindeer, shut up. No, he didn't. He stole my whole topic. This hoe score. God. Oh my gosh. I'm mad as hell. I wanted y'all to hear it from me first. I'm mad as hell, but I can't say anything, but because I have the information that I have from being in some of these spaces. Now, I don't agree with all of these doctors. Clearly with him, I can agree with him on the metabolic stuff, but I disagree with him on the GLP-1 criticism stuff. I'm mad as hell. He stole my whole shit. Okay, so he feels like this. So I agree with this. This is the problem with calling a GLP-1 a weight loss drug, because it assumes, right? That idea assumes that despite the individual, despite the lifestyle, if you just incorporate this regimen, everybody is guaranteed the same results, which is not true. Okay. So we were getting into this a little bit on the stream yesterday when we got into fasting with Journey of Life. And I was explaining that my diet choice, right, which is low carb, high fat now, like I've tried it. It was successful for me before GLP-1. Since being on a GLP-1, I haven't really been able to do it successfully. But as I'm entering phase 2 of my weight loss journey, I'm willing to give it a serious shot. We were talking about that, and she was suggesting that, like, you know, I should be lowering my fat. And I was trying to make the point that, like, for one, when we talked about the Britney video with the calories and saying that nobody needs to count calories, that's not necessarily true, because some people need to count on a GLP-1 to make sure they're eating enough. Also, what you eat is going to determine how your body responds. Okay. It's just that simple, which is why I'm team just go ahead and incorporate some fasting, because nothing is superior to just not eating at all. Right. Because of the hormonal response you're going to get from not eating. When you're eating, but you're not eating enough, you are essentially confusing your body. That's just how it works, right? So I'll make one point that I made in my video. So if you hear it again, when you watch the video, it'll sound redundant. When you choose, okay, when you get on a GLP-1, it makes us eat less, correct? Right? We can all agree on that. There's no debate about that. So by default, we're eating less calories. Whether we're trying to or not, we're eating less calories. The problem with that approach, it's clearly successful for a lot of people, but the problem with that approach for some people, or just in general, is that when you lose weight based on calorie restriction alone, the body does not discriminate on where that weight loss comes from. Okay? The body doesn't understand calorie counting, right? All it knows is either I have enough energy or I don't. So if you're giving your body fuel, but you're not giving it enough fuel, it's just going to pull it from where it pulls it from. Point blank, period. The difference is with fasting, and I don't know if they're going to bring up fasting, but with fasting, the body does discriminate because of the hormonal responses. So he's talking about the hormonal responses here, which I would agree with. And he's talking about the fact that some people on the GLP-1 assume that you don't have to change what you're eating. Well, it depends on what your diet is. It depends on who you're talking about, what their goals are, and what their diet is. So if a person has a fairly balanced diet and they didn't gain their weight from eating McDonald's every day, they may not have to change their diet. You know what I mean? Because their diet is already balanced. But if they're eating the standard American diet, which is high in carbs, sugar, and fat, but then they get on a GLP-1, yeah, they will be successful in the short term. But overall and in the long term, that person may have to change how they're eating. Me. I'm talking about me. Okay. As a person that comes from a higher carb life, I have to change how I eat in order to be successful. In order to be successful in the way that I want to be successful on a GLP-1, I have to change how I eat. And as far as preserving muscle and burning fat, that's where the fasting comes in. But yeah, he stole my whole video. Cravings and food noise are different. You are behind again, Delilah. How does that keep happening? I think this one is my fault. I'm too tired and pausing. I forgot. Okay.
cravings, because within the scope of all of the neurobiology research of cravings, there's no evidence that humans crave fat. There's no evidence that they crave protein. There is significant and consistent evidence that they crave carbohydrates. Now, someone would say, well, with fat makes it even better. Yeah, but still, carbohydrates are the thing that they crave the most. And we intuitively know this. No one is sitting down and craving a hard-boiled egg, a perfect balance of fat and protein. We crave carbohydrates. The saltier and crunchier, the better, or the sweeter and the gooier, the best of all, perhaps, but it's going to be a carbohydrate. And so what if our use of the drug influences the conversation that the clinician has with the patient? And that's maybe to sum it all up in a crystallized way here, it would be that I would imagine the best use of the drug being a clinician who sits down with the patient and then explain, the patient doesn't need to be told they're overweight or unhealthy because of it. They would know intuitively. And it is important that the clinician acknowledge it and not pretend that having too much body fat is benign. But they say,
sorry, I agree with this. Now, I know some of you have had issues with your doctors having a bias toward you because of your weight and maybe not treating you in the most fair way. But we've talked about this before. And I agree that body fat shouldn't be treated as benign. And that's where I have beef with my doctors. My body fat has always been treated as benign. And I hate that because I've spent most of my life obese because of it. Had more emphasis been put on not necessarily how I look, but my body composition, I think I would have been more successful earlier on in life. I crave protein and veggies. Nicole, I will say that as an American, the average person eating the standard American diet will crave sugar and carbs and starches before they crave the protein and veggies. But I have learned that the more you remove the processed carbohydrates out of your diet and replace them with protein and fats, I won't say veggies because I don't eat them, you do start to crave those things. I crave bacon. I do. I crave bacon. I crave chicken. I crave chicken wings. I crave protein. I crave protein. I do. But the more I lean toward a higher carb diet, I do crave those things first. I do. I would say that. Dr. Mindy, IG post. Who's Dr. Mindy? Oh, okay. So I missed this comment. Sydney, I saw Dr. Mindy Pels, I don't know who that is, getting raked over the coals on IG because she came out strong against GLP-1s. People are speculating that she's criticizing the use of GLP-1s because she's losing the fasting business. You want to know my take? Well, let me look at your email real quick. Let me look at, because I don't know who that is, but I do have a take based on what you said. I do have a take based on what you said. Will Ozempic make you go blind? I don't see the post you sent, Sydney. I see the Will Ozempic make you go blind video. Can you confirm that it was sent? Because I would like to see I don't know who Dr. Mindy is, but I would like to see the post. BRB craving a stick of celery. I'm not gonna lie, when I did eat celery about a year and a half ago, like regularly with peanut butter, I did get to the point where I was craving it. I did. Oh, you sent it to me on Instagram. Oh, okay. Hold on, let me see. Instagram. I'm just going to play it out loud real quick, sidebar, because I don't know my Instagram password, so I can't pull it up on my computer. So I'm just going to play this.
You can't get off of it. If you go to get off of it, you gain all the weight back. It never solved the root cause problem. It wasn't made to help you lose 10 pounds. It was for the person that was about to lose a limb. We've now using it for people to lose weight so they can feel better about themselves. Okay, in that concept, we have a couple.
Hashtag vain.
Expensive. So now you're on $1,000 a month to keep the same weight. So Ozempic kills hunger. And that's one of the reasons it's causing people to lose weight. You need food to make hair and nails and muscles and hormones and neurotransmitters. We don't know what it does to the microbiome. And the microbiome is what is making serotonin that keeps us happy. The microbiome, there's a set of bacteria in our gut called the estrobolome that break estrogen down. If we destroy our microbiome, you destroy your body and you destroy your mind. The last one that I will tell you is that it's the empowerment piece. When I inject something into me and I lose weight, who do I give credit to? Ozempic, you're codependent. What happens when the human forgets how powerful they are? Let's not rob a woman of the experience of figuring out how to drop weight. And by the way, a fasting lifestyle will give you the same weight loss result and save you money as Ozempic. And you walk out of that and you are like, I'm a badass. I did this. I did that for me. You don't get that if you inject yourself with something.
She says that these medicines disempower people. It's quite the opposite. These medicines all of a sudden make people feel like they can actually do the things they've been wanting to do, but have been struggling due to their biology, their appetite. So actually, these medicines empower you to do the lifestyle changes that we always wanted our patients to do. She tries to fearmonger around these medicines disrupting your microbiome, which could lead to all sorts of issues. The issue is, number one, is that we should look at hard outcomes, meaning improved cardiovascular health. We reduce risk of heart attacks. We see that people just have a better quality of life and better life overall when taking these medicines. But in regard to specifically your microbiome, there are some data that actually improves your microbiome. So it doesn't really matter either way. And lastly, to try to compare fasting or intermittent fasting to using these medicines is insane. You get less than a 10% total body weight loss with any type of fasting, and it likely goes away with time. Whereas these medicines, we're looking at 15 to 20 or higher percent total body weight loss. It's not even close.
I don't know about that, Dr. Nadolski. Okay. I like Dr. Nadolski. I do. I like him. I don't know about that, but thank you for that, Sydney. That was quite entertaining. So now I have to sidebar to address this. That was like chicken soup for the soul. It's like the battle of GLP-1s versus fasting. And I'm team both, okay? So I'm the mediator in this. So I was laughing while she was talking. I don't know who that lady is, but I was laughing because I'm like, this is so unnecessary. Like, you don't have to scare people out of GLP-1 usage, for one, okay? If you're being honest, you don't have to scare people out of GLP-1 usage. Now, I don't know if her perspective is coming from a lack of education or manipulation. I don't know. It ain't for me to say. Like, I believe heavily in fasting. I truly do. And I don't know. I don't agree with Dr. Nadolski, but he may have numbers that I'm not aware of as far as body weight percentage of body weight loss or body fat. To say that it's only like 10% with fasting and then it goes away. There are people, I would say GLP-1s and fasting have to be neck and neck, in that fasting is not for everybody. So a GLP-1 may be a better solution, whereas GLP-1s are not for everybody. So fasting may be a better solution. Like, there's no reason to pit them against each other. These are both powerful tools that will potentially get you where you're going. And you just pick the one that goes that works for you. So I am a person that fasted for years. I would drop weight like this, but as soon as I stopped fasting, I would gain the weight back. I got to the point where I just didn't want to fast anymore. So I switched to using GLP-1s, and the weight didn't come off as quickly, but it did come off. And it's like, there's no reason to have a versus with them. Like, so her standpoint of like, don't do it. All you got to do is fast. You don't want to lose your power. There's power in fasting. These drugs are no good. Don't do it. That's what she sounds like. No, you're going to lose your power. It's fat. It's just like, it's not that serious. And for Dr. Nadolsky, like, to be like, like, scrap what she's talking about. Like, fasting ain't all that. GLP-1s are superior. It's like, are they? Like, for both of them, I'm just like, this is unnecessary. Like, I get it. I'm team, like, entertainment purposes. I would like that could have gone on for hours and I would have just been sitting here laughing, because the reality is, and this is again what my video was about that I'm pre-recording, the reality is people should just do what works for them. Period. It is not fucking rocket science. You know how many people cut calories and are successful with their weight loss? It's not my cup of tea, but plenty of people are successful with it. Plenty of people are successful with it. Plenty of people are successful with going vegan. Plenty of people are successful with going carnivore. Plenty of people are successful with fasting. And plenty of people are successful in a GLP-1. Let people do what the hell works for them. If Dr. Mindy was being honest, GLP-1s have a place in weight loss. If Dr. Nadolsky was being honest and genuine, fasting has a place with weight loss. You can have both, or you can pick one. It doesn't matter. Or you could do neither and stay fat. Like, that's an option too. That's an option too. That's an option too. So it's just like, I could see why people are dragging her, because she's not being, like, I don't know if like I said, if it's a lack of education, maybe she's just ill-informed, or she's well-informed and she's manipulating people. But I could see why people would be dragging her, because she's leaving no room for nuance. And then she's like reaching really hard with the like empowerment piece. It's like, take back your power. Fasting makes you feel like, yeah, I did that. So does being on a GLP-1. So does being on a GLP-1. I don't know. I don't think the versus is necessary. I am one to feel like you can just incorporate both with some exercise, with some diet changes, put it all into a weight loss soup and be successful. If you think there is a one size fits all approach and that the one size fits all is fasting, you are wrong. If you think there is a one size fits all approach and the one size is being on a GLP-1, sit back and let it roll at Brittany Rose, you're wrong. You're just wrong. If you think it's a one size fits all, just go vegan, you're wrong. If you think it's a one size fits all, just go carnivore or just exercise more, you're wrong. There is no one size fits all. So people should just do what they want to do what works for them, and shut the hell up. But when you have influence, it starts to matter whether your stance is coming from a place of sincerity or not. So as far as like people feeling like she's losing her fasting business, what I was going to say was, I don't think there's any such thing as losing a fasting business. Like, people that fast are going to keep fasting even though they're on a GLP-1. So there's no such thing as losing a fasting business. Not to me, technically. Like people that already fast, like it probably will be harder to get new business, because for people that are still struggling, now they have an alternative that is really, really a strong alternative. But for people that are already fasting, they just keep fasting and then they get on a GLP-1. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So like, the attack on her, if that's what it's for, I think that that's misguided. If they're going to drag her, it should be to debunk her, not to think it's like, oh, she's just losing the fasting business. There's no such thing as losing the fasting business. Not in my mind. There's no such thing. So I don't know. I don't know. Switzerland. Okay, so I'm gonna go back and read you guys' comments. Kat says GLP-1 has me craving veggies, but with a crunch, cucumbers and carrots. Okay, hey Kat. I don't crave protein and veggies before this appetite, but now I do. I actually became averse to protein and fat at first. Actually, a couple of times during my journey. First when I got on Compound, and then when I switched to brand, I became really averse to fat. She talked a lot about intermittent fasting on her YouTube channel. Like, okay, so let me just tell y'all this really quickly. The people that have like currently have channels based on fasting have been around forever. Like, they've been around for at least the past 5 to 10 years, 5 to 10 years or something like that. That's when fasting became really, really, really freaking popular. So back then, fasting was king the way that GLP-1s are king now. Like you couldn't tell the people that were into fasting, you couldn't tell them nothing. Like just like when keto had its wave, and then there was a point where keto and fasting overlapped, so people were doing both. But when fasting had its wave, like its initial wave, you couldn't tell fasters nothing. Why? Because they were being successful, because it was working when nothing else was. Like when keto didn't work for people, fasting worked. When calorie cutting didn't work for people, fasting worked. So you couldn't tell the fasting people nothing. I know because I was one of them. I used to try to get everybody in my life to fast. Some of them successfully fasted and lost weight. Like you couldn't tell me nothing because 30 pounds gone, just like that. Just like that. Now we're in a GLP-1 wave. And the people, like I said, that are diehard fasters, they're just gonna keep fasting and then maybe incorporate a GLP-1 along with it. They're just gonna keep fasting. Like it's no beef. But now we're in the GLP-1 wave, and you can't tell the GLP-1 people anything. I know because I'm one of them. I know because I'm one of them. You can't tell us nothing. You can't tell us nothing. Let us have our Zepbound and be happy. And that's just how it is. So she's from an era of like, this is all that matters because this is the only thing that works. So we have the loudest voices. Well, unfortunately, that era has come and gone. And now we're in a new era of successful weight loss. And it is the golden age of GLP-1s. Let people be successful. Like when fasting was having its wave, the calorie counting people were having a fit. The eat less, more, move more people were having a fucking fit. You don't need to fast. You're going to die. You're going to starve. You shouldn't fast. It's unhealthy. Eat less, move more. Blah, blah, blah. They were having a goddamn fit. Even though people were reversing their diabetes, coming out of obesity, feeling great, looking great, more energy, all of these different benefits from fasting. They were trying to tear the fasting doctors down. They were tearing them down. And now those same doctors that were getting torn down 5, 6, 7 years ago, they're doing it to the GLP-1 people. They're tearing the GLP-1 crowd down. And they should be ashamed of themselves because they should know better. They should know better because they went through it. This is what I respect about Dr. Jason Fung. He is the only one that I know that went hard for fasting. And when the GLP-1s came along and said, yeah, they're great class of medication. I mean, you could just fast, but hey, if you're on a GLP-1, you'll do great. He's the only one that I know that has said that. Everyone, but the symptoms and the thyroid and the this and the that. And if you can't get off of it, you're going to gain all the weight back. Guess what that's also true for? Calorie cutting and fasting. If you stop, the weight will come back. Guess what that's also true for? Every weight loss intervention ever known to man. If you stop what you did to lose weight, you will gain the weight back. So all of those fasting professionals, those doctors, everybody that made a living for themselves, they should be ashamed of themselves for downing the GLP-1 crowd. They really should be ashamed of themselves because it's completely unnecessary. Would she rather we stay fat with destroyed microbiome? No, she would rather fasting be the only solution. So you have to listen to her, period. That's how I feel. She wants everyone to fast only. Correct. Wait, so 10% of you likely go away with time, but 15 to 20% won't. Oh, I see what you mean. Via Switzerland. I like Switzerland because I like both. And I like Switzerland. I do. I'm a huge proponent of both combined as well. They work together, not against each other. Absolutely. There's no beef. Dr. Mindy writes and talks a lot about fasting. She also wrote a book, Fast Like a Girl. So it's her business. That's why she's trying to protect. Well, in my opinion, that's what she's doing. But like, then she would be stupid because not stupid for protecting her business, but like you would be foolish to think that the way to keep your business is by attacking the next intervention. If you care about the well-being of the people that you are speaking to, you care about their well-being by any means. By any means. You care about their if people are finding their way with GLP-1s, who are you to discourage them because they should do it your way? You give them the information about fasting without demonizing GLP-1s, and you let them decide. And if fasting truly is superior and you are a superior teacher, then fasting will reign and your business will be fine. Your business will be fine. You don't have to tear down GLP-1s and scare people out of a potentially like life-changing intervention because you think your intervention is the best and your business is built around it. That's fucked up. You don't do that. You don't do that. That's why I don't respect a lot of these doctors. Like a lot of the ones that I used to respect on YouTube, it's like, you know, okay, like I rock with you on the information, but when you start talking GLP-1s, you lose me because you're not being honest. You're not being honest. So I don't think you should rob, just like these doctors that are talking about, I would never prescribe a GLP-1. And then you don't care about your patients. You care more about your pride and what you think is best. If you will rob your patient or customer or subscriber or whoever you're teaching, if you would rob them of an intervention because you don't like the intervention, maybe you deserve to lose your business. I don't want to fast. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. I will not leave you alone, Jen. I'm going to force you. I'm going to force you to not eat, damn it. Jen, just join the dark side for a month. I think fasting is a good tool to use in combination with GLP-1s. Only doing intermittent fasting no longer worked for me. Correct, right? It wasn't that it didn't work for me. I just didn't want to do it anymore, which is why I'm fighting to get back into it now. And if I can get my foot, like if I can find my footing again, I won't stop. Like it should be, I look at fasting as a life style intervention. So like not necessarily a dietary one, but a lifestyle intervention. So I need it to be permanent. Delilah, you don't get no darker than growing a tail with Zepbound. Correct. That is correct. We can find a happy medium. It's our choice. I agree. Technically, Dr. Mindy is a chiropractor, so there's that too. I have no words. I have weight loss surgery plus GLP-1s. Correct. That's right. Can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me a goddamn thing. There are so many chiropractors calling themselves obesity specialists out there. I don't get what chiropractors have to do with obesity. I really don't get it. Why is it always chiropractors? The chiropractors jump on whatever the current retreads are and deem themselves experts. Wow. I don't know any chiropractors, so I didn't know that was a thing. Weight Watchers, hundreds of thousands lost it and regained it. A lot of chiropractors. Oh, okay. Trends are. I was like, what are retreads? I'm like, what? Trends. Okay. So that's my 2 cents on it. She needs to chill out, just like a lot of these other doctors need to chill out. Like I said, Dr. Fung is the only one that I know of that will say, respectfully, fasting, you can get what you're looking for with fasting. However, this is a decent, like this is a good medication. It's good. It, like he even said that about metformin. He's like, it does what it's supposed to do. So, I mean, you'll get what you need, but you could just save your money and fast. I respect that, but I also feel like people should have the information about both or multiple interventions and just pick which ones work for them. Like this is a house that we're building and we want the house to last forever. We don't want the house to start crumbling down on us because Dr. Mindy comes and kicks the GLP-1 pillar out from under the damn house and then the roof comes collapsing down. That's literally what she's acting like. Like you're building a house, right? A weight loss house. I always use this example. You got your GLP-1s, you got your fasting, you got your dietary changes, you got your exercise, you got your hydration, you got your supplements, you got the and then fucking Dr. Mindy comes in with a sledgehammer and starts fucking knocking the GLP-1 pillar out of the goddamn house. And she's like, no, just give me 17 more fasting pillars in here ASAP. And it's just like, it's not that serious. Can you like go outside with that, please? Like you're doing a lot. Like, can you like, please, like, can you like take your sledgehammer, lady, and like go outside and like swing at the air? Like, it's okay. I'm okay with my GLP-1. Like, look, Dr. Mindy, my fasting pillar, it's right here. It's nice and pretty. I even colored it pink. Venetian pink, if you prefer. But like, it's okay. I have my fasting pillar. I'm doing it, Dr. Mindy. This just also works for me too. Can you not like take it? Can you not like force it? Like, can you not tell me that like my pillar is gonna like turn into a zombie and like eat me alive? It's like what she's acting like. It is like, and then it's like Dr. Nadolski like just comes in and puts her in a straitjacket and it's like, don't listen to her. She's just we do what we can. We do what we can with her. Like, just don't listen to her. We can take it from here. Just take your GLP-1s and don't worry about it. Fasting, don't worry about it. I know don't worry about it. It's like, and it's like, can y'all both just get out? Like, just get out of my house. Get out. Just let me take my GLP-1s and not eat for 24 hours in peace. Thank you. That's all I need. That's all I need. That's all I need. Like that's all I need. Whatever. That okay. So spine and fat are the same. Duh. Wait, what? Delilah, why do I never know what you're talking about? What are you talking about? Was that not accurate? I feel like that was an accurate representation. Like the audio might have cut out a little bit because I was like yelling into my mic, but y'all get what I was saying. I could not fast prior to GLP-1s, just couldn't. Now I can. When did you first start attempting to fast, Holly, if you can let me know? So thank you so much for that segue, Sydney. That was incredibly refreshing. I found that to be entertaining. I dig it. I think she's overreacting, and I think Dr. Nadolski, in attempts to be a little shady, is like being a bit too dismissive toward fasting. But I like Dr. Nadolski. I really do. I should email him and see if he'll interview with me. You said, what does chiropractic? Oh, spine equal. I got a fat spine. Bone check. I don't think I got a spine check yet. My spine is not spining the way I need it to spine. I still got a lot of fat on my back. Okay, so we're gonna have to like to be continued on the spine spine bone check. Chiropractic V. Spine equals obesity. I got so off on my Dr. Mindy tangent. I'm like, spine and obesity. See, you see how confusing it is? Like, what do chiropractors have to do with obesity? Last Saturday night, was that when we were talking about fasting? Oh my gosh. It was oh wait, you started is that 2 people now? I think Teddy joined us on a fast once, and now Holly joined us on a fast, which I wasn't even completely successful at. But do you know how many hours you went, Holly? Let us know. Okay, I guess we can get back to Dr. What's his face now. Like, let's continue.
Hey, you need to learn, you need to change the way you're eating. And this even comes back to an earlier part of our conversation, Brett, where I said, as much as you and I can both acknowledge that calories matter, that should not be the beginning of the conversation. I believe, because that leads to hunger and just pure restriction. What we ought to say is, let's put you on a program that's going to help lower your insulin. Because when you lower insulin, the body will be burning more fat and metabolic rate will go up. Thus, we say, don't worry about your calories, just control your insulin. And to do that most effectively, control your carbohydrates.
Sorry, I was on mute. I agree. So he said, don't worry about the calories, control your insulin, and therefore the body fat will be addressed. Again, I agree, which is why my approach for October, I'm sorry, yeah, what month are we in? No, my approach for September was to just eat at maintenance, right? I was counting my calories because I wanted to make sure I was eating enough to support my weight training. Now that I'm in a new month, my objective is not necessarily to cut my calories. I still will eat at maintenance if I can make it to maintenance that day. I'm not really picky about it. You know, like I don't really need to count unless I feel like I'm under eating. But the objective is to control the insulin, which we already do get a good amount of that from the GLP-1. But it's like, you're doing it yourself a disservice by eating a high carb diet for some people, not all. As for me, still trying to lose weight and knowing how my body works, I got to lower the carbs. Over 24. Your first time you went over 24 hours? How did it make you feel? Did you get insomnia? Like what were your symptoms like? You have to tell me more, Holly. That is crazy. That is wonderful for your first fast. That is amazing. Amazing. Good for you. He's messy boots. He is very messy, which is why I don't get upset at him. Like you never see me dragging Dr. Nadolski, even when I disagree with him, because I know he's a smart man. Like I know he's smart. I know he knows what he's talking about. I know he knows what he's doing. I just disagree with him on some things. And he's shady, he messy, he is messy boots. He is messy boots.
Which is stop getting your carbs from bags and boxes with barcodes. Whole fruits and vegetables, enjoy them liberally, eat them, don't drink them, but stop getting these refined, ultra-processed carbs. And then the seed oil crew would also nod their heads to that, because that's how we mostly get our seed oils at the same time in those crystallized way here. It would be that I would imagine the best use of the drug being a clinician who sits down with the patient and then explain, the patient doesn't need to be told they're overweight or unhealthy because of it. They would know intuitively. And it is important that the clinician acknowledge it and not pretend that having too much body fat is benign. But they say, hey, you need to learn, you need to change the way you're eating. And this even comes back to an earlier part of our conversation, Brett, where I said, as much as you and I can both acknowledge that calories matter, that should not be the beginning of the conversation. I believe, because that leads to hunger and just pure restriction. What we ought to say is, let's put you on a program that's going to help lower your insulin. Because when you lower insulin, the body will be burning more fat and metabolic rate will go up. Thus, we say, don't worry about your calories, just control your insulin. And to do that most effectively, control your carbohydrates, which is stop getting your carbs from bags and boxes with barcodes. Whole fruits and vegetables, enjoy them liberally, eat them, don't drink them, but stop getting these refined, ultra-processed carbs. And then the seed oil crew would also nod their heads to that, because that's how we mostly get our seed oils at the same time within those packages of refined carbs.
Right. So that puts an extra layer on sort of what you were saying about this study, though, because, at the same time, we're saying that they were craving that the GLP-1 did not go up with the carbs, and they were craving carbs. At the same time, they're not craving probably broccoli and beans or lentils, right? They're craving the more refined carbs and the processing, which is actually really interesting, because now, so many people are focusing on the processing itself, and it's the processing, and maybe focusing less on the fact that it's carbohydrate and its effect on insulin.
Oh, god damn you. Fuck you guys. I don't like them. I don't like them. Okay, now I'm only saying that because I said this when I came back from Europe. My experience with eating sugar in Europe was like a light bulb moment. It was like, guys, I don't think sugar is the problem. I don't think carbs, sugar, I don't think it's the problem necessarily. It might be the processing that we are doing in the States, because when I went overseas, not to Mexico, but when I went overseas to Europe and I had sweets, I didn't gain any weight. I also didn't get the dopamine release I was looking for, whatever. I didn't get the sugar high, but I didn't gain any weight. I ate whatever. I ate bread. I ate fried food. I ate sugar. I drank sugar. I was eating everything. I ate McDonald's. I ate everything under the sun. I didn't gain any weight. I just maintained. And it was oh my God, I don't think sugar and carbohydrates are the devil that we make them out to be, because when you leave the States and have them, you're fine. But when you come back here, you got to moderate them, and you got to pick and choose, and you got to you know what I mean? So because I'm stateside and I'm bound to the US supply of food, I have to be picky about what I'm eating, me personally. But if I was in Europe, let's be very fucking clear. The way that I go hard against carbs and wheat and all of that, I don't think I would have those problems in Europe. I don't think I would have to restrict much of anything if I lived in Europe for the rest of my life. I don't think I would have to worry about what I'm restricting. I don't think so. I'm willing to bet on it, but it's not like I'm gonna move to Europe for the rest of my life unless y'all are gonna fund it. But or if one of my European viewers wants to adopt me. But it's if I went to Europe for the next 4 months, I would not have to change anything about my diet. And I probably would lose the weight. I'm not bullshitting. This is speculation based on me going and me not gaining a single pound, eating out every single goddamn day. I ate out every day for a week and didn't gain a pound. Drank sugar, ate fried food, ate fast food. It did not matter. So that was my light bulb moment. So I didn't realize that was a conversation that's happening now. And he's saying, yeah, now people are well, maybe it's the processing and not necessarily, the carbohydrates themselves. I would agree. But in the US, we're pretty much screwed. So we have to talk about the carbohydrates if we're going to eat here. You know what I mean? While y'all are doing bone checks, I do back checks every week. Are you checking for your backbone or back soreness? What are we talking about with the back? They stole it all. They did. They stole all my ideas. US foods are so bad, very much so. Lots of people in Europe are overweight too, so they got to be doing something with their food too. Okay, that's a good point. But as an American, based on the standard American diet, like if I go to Europe, I don't think I would like have to do much because the food is so different. Now, for the people that are already living there, how they're eating, I don't know how they eat necessarily. I don't know. Whatever they're doing, I feel like we're doing it worse. So I'm not saying there's no fat people in Europe. The obesity epidemic is worldwide. Let's see if I can find out real quick. Europe. I'll do Europe as a whole. Europe obesity rate 17% in 2022. Highest Malta, Hungary, and Croatia. Lowest Italy, France, and Spain. Obesity rates have been increasing in most European countries over the past few decades. Obesity rates are higher among older adults and men. Socioeconomic factors. Obesity rates are also higher among people with lower incomes and education levels. Okay, this is what we talked about before with the food stamps and obesity. It's the same thing in the States. The socioeconomic status and education level are high indicators for your relationship to obesity, like your likelihood to be obese, or the obesity rate, I should say. But I need a little bit more information. So 2022. Let's see if I can do 2024. There are no single figures for the entire continent, so I'd have to pick a country. Let's pick the country that I went to. Let's pick the Netherlands, because I did say Europe as a whole, so I should have specified the Netherlands. Netherlands obesity rate 2023 16%. For adults aged 18 and over. Okay, so US obesity rate, so that's 17%. US obesity rate 2023. 40%? No, Delilah. No, Delilah. No, Delilah. No, Delilah. Ain't no goddamn way. Hold on. Let me show y'all this shit here. No, let me show y'all this shit here. I'm right. You're wrong, Delilah. I'm sorry. I'm right. You're wrong, Delilah. Look at this shit here. Look at this shit here. Hold on. 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 Ain't no goddamn way. Ain't no goddamn way. Look at this shit here. Okay, so let's go back to what I was looking at. So let's go back. So when I was giving my spiel, I said Europe, but technically I didn't go to all of Europe. I went to well, technically 3 countries, but let's use 2. I went to the Netherlands and I went to Switzerland. So I ate out for a week straight in the Netherlands and Switzerland. Belgium was like for half a day, so we'll leave Belgium out. So I adjusted my search to account for the Netherlands obesity rate. And it pulled up data from 2023, and it says 16.9% for adults aged 18 and over. Okay. Defined as having a body mass index of 30 or higher. Then I did US obesity rate 2023, 45.6%. 45.6%. So whatever the fuck is going on here. Okay. All right. So you said it's an unfair comparison. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let's look at this. Let me so you said, but look at how much bigger the US is to all of Europe as a whole. It's an unfair comparison. Right. So, I mean, but you should have said that first. That ain't what you said at first. You said, no, they doing something because they fat. So I'm just making the comparison. Okay. So let's do it this way. Then fine. Let's look at the size. Let's look at the US population. 340 million, and Europe population is 745 million people. So what are you talking about, Delilah? Look how much bigger the US is. What? Wait, no. Okay, so hold on, because now I'm confused. So if we do Europe, Europe has more people than the US. So what do you mean look at the comparison in size? Okay. Let's forget Europe. Let's do Netherlands. We're going to do country for country, right? So what's the biggest European country? Russia, Germany, and France by population. Let's do by population, not size. Russia population 143 million, but they don't have a lot of people. Oh shit. Hold on. No, go back. Okay. So European nations with obesity rates similar to the US. European countries with obesity rates similar to the US include Malta, Czech Republic, and the United Kingdom and the UK, which are often cited as having higher rates of overweight and obesity compared to the European average. Conversely, countries with significantly lower rates. Okay, so let's go with the UK. So UK obesity rate. Oh shit, hold on. %26.2%. Do you think that's more fair? The US isn't the most obese country in the world. I didn't say it was. We talked about this before. Americans, yeah, okay, but that's not the point. The point that I was making was that when this is an N of one example, right? So this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone as a whole. I was just using my own personal example to say I noticed a difference when I went to Europe. I went to 2 European countries, right? You started going down the rabbit hole, but I went to 2 European countries and I noticed that when I ate similar foods to what I eat here and similar drinks to what I would eat here, the impact was different. That's all I was trying to. It wasn't even about the obesity rate. It was about the fact that there's something different about the food. That's not to say that the people aren't fat or that there isn't obesity. Of course there is. And it's not to say that like the point was to say that whatever we're doing in the US is worse. I don't care what size the country is. I don't care what the rate is in Europe or the UK, because the UK is not a part of Europe. I don't care what the rate is or what the size of the country is. What we're doing with the food here in the US is by far completely worse. That was the point that I was trying to make about the processing of the food versus the actual food being the problem. So I don't think carbohydrates as a whole, if we had better options, I don't think they would be a problem, was the point that I was trying to make. You forced a comparison that I wasn't trying to make. I was trying to make a completely different point. JC says, look up obesity rates per capita by country. Okay. Can y'all see? Samoa, we already knew that. We already knew that the Samoa had the highest rate. But aren't these mostly islands? Like, I don't even know what Nauru is. Oh, it's not going to show me. I thought it would show me where it was on the map. American Samoa and Samoa are 2 different places. Okay. French Polynesia. So the point wasn't to say that the US the point wasn't to say that the US has the highest rate, but the places that have higher rates than the US, where do we think they get their food from? Let's find that out. American Samoa, Tokelau, Cook Islands. High consumption of processed foods and sugary drinks. Where do we think they get that from? But it also says cultural norms that value larger body sizes, lack of access to healthy food and healthcare. Samoa relies heavily on food imports, which made up about 30% of its total merchandise imports. Key food imports include poultry, processed and canned foods like fish and beef, and staples like rice and flour. Right. This seems like a cultural thing too. So let's look at a different country. These look like some of these look like British territories. So let's say Cook Islands. 66%. High consumption of processed foods and sugary drinks, low levels of physical activity, changes in traditional diets and food systems. Diet. No, not their traditional diet. Bread often with sugar, beverages. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm trying to get into not their traditional foods, but I'm trying to get into the junk food. Okay, that's when they became incredibly overweight, when they went poor, and now they are still fat and poor. When I was in Italy, very few Italians stopped and ate for breakfast. They take their coffee on the go, eat a basic lunch, take a siesta, eat around 8 p.m., and then walk for several hours after. That's a huge cultural difference. So they're skipping breakfast, so that's essentially a fast until lunch, which I would agree with. Basically, they're not sitting around eating all day like Americans. And in America, it isn't necessarily just the types of food or the processing. It's the culture of having to eat something all day and constantly having to have a snack. Like I'm about to have a snack right now. Correct. You know what? I left it like that to see if someone was going to say something. Like I didn't necessarily think it was going to be Delilah because Delilah was, having the whole microwave issue. But I saw it before I got on live and I was like, I believe it. Let's see if someone says anything. It's in like a sleep mode. I can turn it off. Research blue zone areas. It answers your question about the food process. Yep, a walking culture makes a difference. Okay. We'll get back to the video in just a second. But the TV is asleep, so let me go turn it off. All this talk about snacks got me wanting to snack on some chips, but I don't want to be crunching in y'all's ear. Ow. Okay. And the US is in need of cars to get anywhere, and most of Europe doesn't. That's how you know I'm half asleep. I didn't even see what there was. Yeah, it was like a clock going on and on. And I'm like, somebody's gonna say something. It's like a way of like trolling y'all now, ever since the whole microwave situation. So we got about 2 hours in before someone said something. I should have had the remote here so I could just click it off. But you know, whatever. All right, so we're almost through the GLP-1 video. So let's continue. Let's continue.
So there does seem to be like a little bit of a balance, but it seems like GLP-1 might be the equalizer for that. Do you think because it addresses both?
Yeah, I think so. Brett. In fact, that question sort of allows me to sort of complete this whole long ranting thought, which is that I think the best use of the drug is when the clinician tells the patient, you need to control your carbs. But there will be some people who will say back to the clinician, maybe even after having attempted this for some time, they will say, I just can't do it. I am trying to control my carbs. Then the clinician can, with nothing but empathy, say, all right, to some degree or another, you're addicted. Now let's help you with your addiction. And so here's a drug at what we could call a microdose, a fraction of what it's commonly used at now. And then I'm going to cycle you on this for, I don't know, 90 days. And then during this time, we'll be checking in with you to determine how well you're doing at controlling your carbohydrate cravings, the thing that humans crave the most when it comes to nutrition. And many people, I have known, this is anecdotal, which pains a scientist to invoke, but I've known individuals who do a 90-day protocol, and when they wean themselves off, they cycle off the drug, the habits have persisted. And there is something powerful about that 90 days when it comes to changing habits and breaking addictions. Some people will find that they can get off and they have a new normal. They've rewired their habits, if you will.
You know what? Honestly, I wouldn't mind this as an option for the people that would like to work out this with their doctor. The problem is, why does everyone keep talking about microdosing as if like Eli Lilly offers less than a 2.5 milligram? Do y'all know the answer to that? Like, outside of working with your doctor to get a compound, why are we talking about microdosing? I think even Dr. Tina, because of the type of doctor she is, she has access to a lot of peptides, but I think they're compounded. So is that what we're suggesting, that people microdose through compound with their doctor instead of like just accepting it as a long-term intervention? You microdose it for about 90 days to get your habits in check and then get off of it. I wouldn't mind that. Like, I don't care. Like, I wouldn't mind that for people that would like that. But what do we have against staying on it forever? Other than the price. But like, other than price, what do we have against like just staying on it because we like it? Oh no. Recently saw an interview with Dr. Nadolski's channel discussing differences like the walkability of their cities, less snacking, and routines that support eating only at meal times. Yes. A big part of intermittent fasting that I think people forget is no snacking. You're not supposed to, ideally, because you're trying to tackle insulin, you're not supposed to eat in between your meals. And I'm not saying people in general, I'm talking about the intermittent fasting crowd. Sometimes we forget this. But the idea is to have meals at mealtime. And if there is a snack you want to have it alongside your meal. So like I've been technically, I should have eaten my chicken like all at once, but I've been like kind of snacking on it. So I've been dragging it out. And if I wanted to have some chips, I could have just had the chips along like right after I was done with the chicken instead of having it like 2 hours later and then before a different meal or whatever. So yeah. Because it gets views. Chiropractors, microdose advocates. She's a chiropractor too. Dr. Tina's a chiropractor? I didn't know that. Should I have known that? I don't know. My chicken got cold. I didn't know that. JC said, I think people continue to separate what the drugs are replacing in the body with hitting a goal weight. Unless the drugs are regenerating the natural peptides, I am staying on it. That's the thing, right? It's a GLP-1 receptor agonist. So it's replicating what we would get from our natural GLP-1, but like to the umpteenth power. And I'm okay with that. Because what he's this is the thing about it. Like, people like this, they don't get it because they've never tried it, or maybe they've never struggled with their weight or their eating, but they don't get the power of the food noise, like being crushed. They don't get it. So when you talk about getting off, it's not that I'm opposed to getting off. It's just like, if I gotta choose between living without it and having the healthy habits to maintain a healthy weight, right? Let's say hypothetically, I get to my goal weight on a GLP-1 and I've developed habits healthy enough to keep me at my weight, but also get off the GLP-1. Some people would say, oh my God, that would be great. Maybe, because I don't want the food noise to return. So I'm perfectly fine with just staying on it. I'm perfectly fine with just staying on it. But I guess we'll see in about 2-3 years. Like, it's been a year and they say most people get off in 2 years. So I guess we'll revisit this by next July and see if I'm ready to get off, but I have no plans to. Retired chiropractor. Okay. Yes, Dr. Tina often mentions that she's a chiropractor. I haven't listened to her in so long, like so long. Same. No one is telling me to stop my insulin as a type 1 because my A1C is down. Yeah, like I'm telling you, I wish these people would just admit it. It's a bias against obese patients. That's all it is. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I don't say that as a victim. I ain't no victim. I make my own decisions. My doctor don't tell me what to do, but I consult my doctor about things that they would be versed in. They're not versed in everything. You know what I mean? So it's like, not every doctor is versed in everything. So it's like, when these people talk about getting off of it, why? You're not. I'm so annoyed. Like, I wish somebody would just answer this question for me. Why don't the type 2s get this smoke? They use the same drug. Why don't the type 2s get this smoke? They use the same drugs. Like, you do not see video after video saying, let's just take 90 days. You'll lose a little bit of weight. We'll get your A1C down. As a type 2, you'll be out of type 2 diabetes in about maybe 90 days, 6 months or something like that. And then we can get you off of it. Why aren't they saying this to the type 2s? Why aren't they saying this to the type 2s? We don't want you on it forever. We don't want your dose to be too high. We don't want this, and we don't want the side effects. And it's going to slow down your digestion and your thyroid and your this and your that, and you're going to lose all happiness for everything in life. Why don't the type 2 diabetics get this GLP-1 smoke? Can anybody tell me? It's the same drug. It's the same drug. It's the same peptide. Why is one group being told, I don't really like the way it's being prescribed? I mean, okay, you can kind of use it, but we should probably make a plan to get off of it. Why? Why aren't you telling the type 2s to get off of it? It's the same medication. Why are we subject to side effects that they are not subject to? That makes no sense. And if I get the opportunity to talk to one of these doctors, that is going to be the question that I ask. Are you telling the type 2 diabetics the same thing? Are you putting a PSA out there? Hey, type 2s, you don't want to risk your thyroid being screwed up or thyroid cancer. Hey, type 2s, you don't want to be on this medication forever. You don't want your dose to be too high. You don't want your digestion to be too slow down. You don't want nausea. You don't want to lose interest in everything in life. So after your A1C comes down and you're no longer diabetic, let's get you off. No, let's get you off. I don't get it. I don't get why we got to hear that shit, but type 2s don't. That makes no sense.
Some people will be good, but then they'll find the craving starting to come back. Okay, no problem. Cycle them back on. And so overall,
why are we cycling in it? You know what? I'm not even opposed to cycling in and out. I'm not. But like, because if we're talking about like down regulating of receptors, cycling might be beneficial. But it's like, you're trying to take away the thing that's addressing the problem. Like, if food noise is the problem and you give them medication and it gets addressed, and then you take it away and then the food noise comes back, and you're like, well, let's put them back on. You could have just kept them on it. Child.
my view and the perspective that I attempted to articulate in that article, which was a good experience for me, a good exercise to actually crystallize these thoughts, it is that the drugs are very powerful and thus could be effective at a lower dose if framed in the context of this is a drug that's helping you control your cravings, not framed as a weight loss drug. And then second, presenting the idea that this is a temporary intervention. You're not on this forever. So you need to be deliberate about the habits that you're changing and the decisions you're making, because in 90 days, I'm going to want to start to cycle you off this to see how well the habits have become a new normal for you. So to me, the best use of this self-discipline in a syringe is to look at it as a temporary enhancement to overcome addictions rather than this is your new normal and you're going to be drugged for life.
Right. And not just, well, here, now you're going to eat.
This is a temporary intervention versus this is your new normal. Now you're going to be drugged for life. Does he say that to type 2s? Let's start a poll. Let's start a poll. Why not? Let's start a poll. Why not? Oh, I lost my chat. I lost my page. Weird. Let's start a poll. Why not? Now we can answer the question. That's the title of the video. So let's end that poll. And let's start a new one. Should GLP-1s, this is unfair because I know most of y'all's answer, be used as a temporary intervention? There we go. You guys can go ahead and vote. I already know like most of y'all's answer, but you never know. My dad is T2D and is on 15 milligram branded Manjaro and metformin, and that effer can eat through his meds. Like I can't believe. Yeah, I mean, I was eating through my 7.5, but it depended on what I was eating. Like if I ate higher protein, then I was cool. But if I ate higher carb, I could eat right through it. But that's because carbs are appetite stimulating food. Like, it's an appetite stimulating food group. So, but I mean, there it is. Should we be using GLP-1s as a temporary intervention?
Less of the standard American diet, or now you're going to eat less of the very high carb diet, but rather this is the way to curb your cravings and your addiction so that you can transition to a lower carb diet, which will then impact your insulin and your fat burning and lead you to better metabolic health. And as you pointed out, and so have I in numerous studies, the weight loss from a ketogenic diet is generally preserving of the lean mass, or certainly losing a lot less of the lean mass. So it seems like this is a way to really move towards greater metabolic health. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, right. In fact, that's a great ending there, as you said it, because earlier you'd sort of phrase this question of, are all weight loss interventions going to result in the same degree of lean mass loss? And no, if you can be adequately nourishing the body with all of what it needs, vitamins, minerals, etc., and not driving it into an overt caloric deficit, but yet insulin is low, you are creating an environment that does facilitate uniquely fat loss versus muscle loss. And so in fact, my lab.
God, you bastard. I said that in my video. Whore. If you just cut calories, your body does not discriminate where it pulls that weight from. That's why so many people lose their muscle. But if you choose a diet that will impact your insulin enough to keep it low, or you don't change your diet, you just go ahead and fast, even though I'm pro do both, change your diet and fast, your body will trigger fat burning, but it will also trigger muscle preservation at the same time. So depending on what your goal is, that determines the intervention you should be using. Like if you literally just want to get the weight off to be, in a smaller body or see the weight go down on a scale, and you don't care about body composition, then just being on a GLP-1 alone may be enough. But if you do care about body composition and you want to preserve your muscle and target fat at the same time, then you're going to have to make some other changes as well. It really just depends on what your goals are. But at the end of the day, people should do what works for them.
I published a report finding that ketones are actually muscle preserving as a direct signaling molecule, that where beta hydroxybutyrate actually inhibited we gave the muscles a chemical insult, and beta hydroxybutyrate actually made the muscle cells more robust and resistant to injury. So we have evidence right at the level of the cell, not to mention the significant commentary of decades of work from Dr. George Cahill, who would often refer to ketones as the great muscle preserving molecule, that they're muscle sparing. But yeah, I think it's not a stretch to then say with a ketogenic low carb diet, with the intention being I'm just lowering my insulin, I'm not lowering my calories per se, you're going to find, I think, yourself in a very superior metabolic environment to promote selectively greater fat loss.
Yeah. And I think that's so important to emphasize, that it's not weight loss, it's fat loss, especially visceral fat, maintaining lean muscle mass. And you just set it up perfectly for a way to do that. Fellow mental health clinicians and healthcare providers, you now have access to a suite of free.
And their results outperform even the reported results of just semaglutide alone.
But do you think more will be doing it? And will your lab be doing
Yeah.
it? Or doing research studies on this? They'd have to get NIH funding or current high dose, take it forever, see. But for a company, and that's why they get done quick. Now back to the video. Now, a lot of studies that involve pharmaceuticals and medications are sponsored and paid for by the pharmaceutical company, and that's why they get done quickly and with thousands and thousands of people. But for what you're proposing, it probably wouldn't be to the benefit of the pharmaceutical company because it's a much lower dose and for a short time, as opposed to the current high dose, take it forever, see you later, which obviously benefits the pharmaceutical company. So do you think labs will start doing research studies on this? They'd have to get NIH funding or philanthropy funding or whatnot, but do you think more will be doing it? And will your lab be doing it?
Yeah, good question. So we are currently actually analyzing a data set from a clinic. So I had a clinician reach out to me who has been using low dose semaglutide with a combined low carb diet, and their results outperform even the reported results of just semaglutide alone. And
I would have to, I mean, I don't even have to see what he's talking about to know that has to be that has to be true. Like, because low carbohydrate diets are so powerful, they didn't bring up fasting in this video, which is fine. But low carbohydrate diets are so powerful that you combine that with a GLP-1, if you're successful. It's really hard to do. That's another thing that they're leaving out. It's really hard to be low carb when you're on a blood sugar medication. It's hard. It's difficult. It is difficult. Especially if you don't take the time to make sure your body knows how to switch fuel sources, right? Like, that part is being left out. If your body is constantly, because this is how we're wired, constantly leaning toward glucose, and you're not putting the glucose in, and you're controlling your blood sugar with the medication, being on a low carbohydrate diet at first on a GLP-1 can suck. It can make you feel like crap because you're controlling your blood sugar without putting any in. You know what I mean? But if people were, I don't think this is necessary for everybody, but if some people were focused on like making sure their body knew how to switch the fuel sources, so making sure their carbs were low enough or they were fasting enough so that they were utilizing ketones plus the GLP-1, I'm pretty sure it would be, it's hard, it's not easy, but I'm pretty sure that would be a powerful combination. That's what I'm aiming for this month.
And again, what the patient finds so enjoyable is the fact that they're not expected to be on the drug indefinitely. I think that's common as much.
Kim says they really don't get it. We all know what the healthy habits are and should be. We just couldn't stick to them. Hopefully some will be able to, but everyone maybe will or won't. They are clueless in this reality of this battle. I would agree. Like, they do come off as clueless because they're speaking numbers and stats instead of like, because they're scientists, they're doctors, right? So like they're speaking in terms of data instead of in terms of like leaving room for the individual patient's perspective. So I get it. When you're talking to large crowds of people as a medical professional, you try to stick as closely to the data as possible. But he was just saying some stuff earlier that had nothing to do with any type of data. He was just making that shit up. So no, they don't get it. They don't get it. And they won't get it unless they get onto a GLP-1 and see what it feels like. Preferably tirzepatide, because I don't know nothing about that. But like, get you a little bit of Zepbound for about 2 months. And see if you're still willing to tell people that maybe they should get off. See how it makes you feel. And then see if you're willing to tell people like, maybe you should get off. I don't know.
Just we have a culture, particularly in the US, where people are able to see advertisements for drugs so much more readily than almost any other country on the planet. We certainly have a more drug-friendly culture in clinical care. where the patient comes in asking for a drug, which is very odd in the rest
I haven't said this much, but if you haven't already, please like the stream and consider subscribing if you haven't already.
of the world because they've seen an ad. But even then, I don't think a person would want to be on the drug indefinitely. So this all comes back to what I mentioned earlier, that I think a lot of the value in this alternative paradigm.
Do I need to send him an email? I don't think a person would want to be on this drug indefinitely. I kind of do. I would love for the price to be lowered. But I kind of do indefinitely want to feel how I'm feeling right now. Like even with tight diet control and fasting and exercise, I've never felt my brain. They think that tirzepatide is just about body weight. No, it's about what it does to your brain, right? Like my brain has never felt so at peace, even with fasting. Now, if we're talking fat loss, hands down, I would argue anyone to the pits of hell that fasting is a superior tool when it comes to fat loss. When it comes to fat loss and muscle preservation, hands down, without a doubt, we have the data to back it up. Fasting is a superior tool. But is it the most useful if people can't stick to it? No. It is superior. It's more effective. But is it useful if nobody's going to use it? Like, you could put a bowl of fucking cauliflower right here and tell me how good it is for me and what it's going to do for me. And you know what's going to happen to that bowl of cauliflower? It's going to sit there. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't want it. So what use is this bowl of nutritious cauliflower to me if I ain't going to eat the shit? There's no use. So fasting isn't useful to people that aren't going to fast. Okay, insert GLP-1s for those that find that as an easier or better solution. And also, fasting doesn't necessarily do for the brain what a GLP-1 does for the brain. Why that is, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I can have appetite control with fasting. That ain't the problem. The appetite control ain't the problem. I can change my diet and have appetite control. But that chatter, that's tirzepatide specific. That fix on that chatter, that silence, I've never had that before. Never. I've never had it before. And it's peaceful. It's so peaceful. So big ups to tirzepatide for that. Newsflash, doc. Right. Some of us want to be on this forever.
Of the use of the drug, namely microdosing and cycling, is that it changes the purpose of the drug, that the person is looking at it as, you are a temporary tool, you little syringe, to help me learn to change my habits. But that still requires some effort on their part. It's not depriving them of the benefit of learning that self-discipline.
If you haven't already, go ahead and vote in the poll because it's tied right now. As far as like whether or not GLP-1s are a temporary, what did I ask? I forgot what the question was. Should GLP-1s be used as a temporary intervention? 50% said yes and 50% said no. So if you haven't already, please take a second and go ahead and cast your vote in the poll.
Which I think is one of the points of life in a kind of grander sense, which is to just, there's, to me telling my body, hey, you fleshy tabernacle of clay, you're not in charge. I am the part of me that is beyond this fleshy body. And
you know what? But we're really not, though. What is with these doctors? Now, this is what Dr. Mindy, she was barking up this tree of like, but take back your power. Being on a GLP-1 takes away your power. All of these other interventions, she was talking about fasting. He's talking about low carb. This gives you the power to say, I'm in charge. Okay. Hormones will outrank willpower any day. Hormones will outrank willpower any day. Now, understanding that, once you understand that, then you can start to do things to kind of get the hormonal response that is more so beneficial to you and your goals. But if you are unaware of which hormone does what as far as weight gain and weight loss, if you are unaware and not on a GLP-1, Your hormones will win every single goddamn time. Your hormones will win every single goddamn time. So if you are losing weight and you are constantly hungry and your body is telling you to eat because your body wants you to eat, damn it. Your body wants you to eat. And trying to fight that with willpower is nearly impossible. There's a small percentage of the population that's successful at just fighting it with sheer will. Sheer will. But no. Hormones are going to win every time. Hormones are the instruction manual for the body, not calorie counting, not willpower, not because I said so, not your doctor, none of that. None of it. And what is a GLP-1? It's a hormone. It's a hormone. So to say like, hey, you body, I'm in control here. No, you're not. Like, if I could tell my period to just like not come this month, I would. Like, I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like dealing with it. So if I could just tell that to like not happen, like I'm in control of my uterus. No period this month. Hey, you uterine lining. We are not going to do this month. It's not how that works. So there is no, hey, you body. We're just going to eat less and eat the right things and go low carb. And we're going to lose this weight. Is there an element of self-control? Yes. Yes. But he is oversimplifying something that without careful thought, you will crash and burn. You'll crash and burn. I tried it when I first switched to Zepbound brand. I was like, hey, you body, we're going to eat this Rice Krispie treat and this fruit roller. Damn it, whether you like it or not. And Zepbound said, you want to bet? Zepbound was like, you want to bet? You want to bet? You sure about that? Are you sure? Are you positive? Try it. I dare you. I got about 2 bites in and I was down for the count. Now that I'm more used to it, I can eat what I want. But when I was first getting on Zepbound, I was like, you're going to take this fruit roll up and you're going to like it. Yeah, you're going to take it and you're going to like it. And you're going to like it. I did a whole live stream on it. It was crazy. It was the wildest experiment. My body was like, no, we're not. Zepbound was like, new sheriff in town. You thought you was about to eat that fruit roll up. Like, I was so averse to sugar and fat when I first got on Zepbound. It was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, hormones are in charge, are large and in charge. Hormones are the instruction manual for the body, not what you say. No. You can't just tell your body to stop breathing and then you'll stop. It's not how it works. So it is what it is, Doc. It is what it is.
And I think it's human nature. We don't like feeling addicted to things. We don't like feeling dependent on things, even if it is the intervention that's helping us curb the addiction. We would like to get over both of them. We want to stop using the intervention because we've learned to control our addictions.
Yeah. I think that's really well said. And I think the way you're proposing it is almost like a no-brainer. Like, why not? Why wouldn't you try this first? Right?
Oh my God, Nicole, you were around then? How many of you were around when I did the new sheriff in town live stream? That was early on into me doing lives. Woo. That was bad. It was serious. When I first switched to Zepbound, Nicole, was that like around when you first found me, or were you watching before I started going live? Because that was like, woo. I had to it took me several weeks to not be averse to fatty foods or sugar. It took several weeks. It was crazy.
A large dose of a medication that has serious potential side effects and can likely sort of commit them to lifelong use. Why wouldn't you try a lower dose, safer, shorter term to see if it helps kickstart their own sort of lifestyle changes? And I'm going to answer my own question here, because I think part of that is
because the doctors don't want to prescribe it. We do know that our doctors can prescribe us compound, right? But they won't. You see how tone deaf this is? Like, why not try a smaller dose and over a shorter period of time? Because the doctors won't prescribe it. That's why we have to go around them and get compound and shit. Like the doctors will only prescribe the branded doses. We have to go around them if we want compound. This is what I'm saying. Why are they talking about this as if the brands offer lower doses than a starting dose? Because if you're talking about a microdose, you're talking about lower than a 2.5. Okay, how are you supposed to get that 2.5 from your doctor, or your 0.5 or whatever? How are you supposed to get it from your doctor? They won't even prescribe. Like some people can't even get their doctor to prescribe brand. Compound, out the window, unless you go to a specialist or telehealth, out the window. Out the window. So it's like, who are they even talking to? Okay, like microdose, how? With what doctor? In what world? You know what I mean? Like you can just go through telehealth and get compound and try the microdosing yourself, but it's like we shouldn't have to do that, right? Like our doctors should be willing to work with us. So I don't see the practicality in what they're talking about. I found you right before that, but stayed in the clouds for a bit. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got some cloud watchers right now. What's going on, cloud watchers? I like to count how many people are commenting. So we got Kim, we got Nicole, we got Holly. That's 3. Sydney is 4. Delilah would have been 5. JC 6. Jen is 7. We're still missing like 4 or 5 people that haven't commented. So who are you guys? Who are you guys? Oh, Kat's here. That's 8. Who are you guys? Who are you? Mona Lisa. Maybe Mona Lisa, 9. Okay, maybe we don't have any cloud watchers. Maybe not today. Who are you guys? Who are you guys? Leave us a comment. Let us know you're here. Hello, hello. Mona Lisa's still here. Okay, okay. So that's 2. There's 2 people unaccounted for. Who are you? Who are you? Yeah. I see you. I see you, cloud watching.
Doctors have sort of become jaded. They're like, diet doesn't work. Lifestyle interventions don't work because what they've been taught and tried for so long, to eat less, move more, low fat. Yeah, it hasn't worked for 50 years. So they get sort of jaded. But so that's the other part that's really important to emphasize of what you're saying is it's as a transition to reducing the carbohydrates. So yeah, why wouldn't they do that? I think people should do it more.
Well, and I think it's a combination. You would know, of course, having gone through medical training. I think it's a combination of the fatigue that a physician may experience, the fact that they can't bill that time. You get paid for what you can bill, and talking about nutrition might not be something a physician is able to get compensated for. So I really I appreciate that. But
that's why we don't want to talk to them about it. I don't talk to my doctor about nutrition. That ain't their lane. Sorry, it's not. Whether it's because it's billable or not, I don't give a shit. They didn't study that. So oh, hey, Missy. Hello. Oh, you getting your nails? Okay, no. You're on the West Coast. I was gonna say, oh my God, you're getting your nails done so late. Okay, look, my nails are fried. I refuse to go sit in that chair. I just don't feel like it, Miss Girl. I don't feel like it. I'm listening, just doing some research on the talking heads. I'm just messing with y'all. I always like to see who's sitting and listening. I have gladly taken control from Ben and Jerry's and handed it over to Zepbound. I like Haagen-Dazs. I used to not like Haagen-Dazs when I was a kid, but I like really dig Haagen-Dazs now. Like chocolate Haagen-Dazs. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I even have some water ice, Italian ice in the freezer right now. But the brand that I got, I don't quite like. But I really like Italian ice too. So I'm on Zepbound and I can still eat it. It's not really like a necessity. It's more like a treat. Like that would be nice now. Like I could go for some of that. It's like that.
Same time, they might not have even learned anything other than eat less, exercise more. If that simplistic mantra worked, we would have solved the obesity problem before it ever started, because we've been saying that for 60 years.
Agreed.
Obviously, a weight loss strategy that is based on just straight calorie deprivation and restriction and the sort of mistaken view of the laws of thermodynamics in a biological system, it does not lead to an actual successful intervention.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and giving us this insight.
Okay, so here's where I'll end it off with this topic as far as what he said. I agree with what he said, but I think we just got to let the GLP-1 people have this, because so many of us are coming from a standpoint of obesity and chronic disease, including type 2 diabetes. So with that being said, losing weight with sheer calorie restriction is an imperfect system, but it is a choice. Like it's an imperfect solution, but it's working for some people. So although unfortunately some people are losing their muscle, that is a lack of education, because if they were more educated, then maybe they would do the things to prevent some of that, right? Like weight training and increasing their protein, even though they're not hungry, and all of these different things. So we got to find some method, some way to get them that information instead of trying to tell them it's an imperfect system. Don't rely on it. It's an imperfect system. Don't rely on it. We got a lot of imperfect interventions in the medical field. That doesn't mean we don't utilize them. Chemotherapy is an imperfect intervention. Okay. Bariatric surgery is an imperfect intervention. That doesn't mean we throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I mean? Like if someone not on a GLP-1 said, I want to lose weight. And when I looked up how to lose weight, I found out to cut my calories by 500 calories a day if I want to lose 1 pound per week, and 1,000 calories a day if I want to lose 2 pounds per week. I would say, stop what you're doing and reconsider. What are your goals? And then consider the interventions that will work for those goals, right? Now, if a person said, I want to lose weight, I'm going to start on a GLP-1, although I know there is a concern of under eating. What I would say, even though the first person intentionally wanted to undereat and I told them to pump their brakes because there's other options, the person that wants to get on a GLP-1, they're going to be forced to undereat. What I would tell this person is, don't be afraid to start the intervention. Yes, there is a struggle with undereating, but you can work through that, right? Your goal isn't to undereat, but will you at times? Yes. Just keep it in the back of your mind that if that's all you lean into, your composition will suffer. You will lose your muscle. So you have a choice. You can utilize the intervention for many other benefits other than undereating. Undereating. And as time passes, you will be able to incorporate more food into your diet as time goes on, right? As you get used to your dose. That's what I would say. So in the two cases have similar outcomes: undereating and destroying your body composition. However, the first person is ill-educated and they think that calorie cutting is all they need to lose weight. That's only going to work temporarily. The second person is using an intervention that just so happens to include eating less. But it's a choice on whether or not you only focus on that part of the intervention. Does that make sense, right? Like with a GLP-1, even though I'm anti-eat less, it does force us to eat less. So some of us make an effort to make sure we're eating enough. Some people don't care. They just eat when they're hungry and they don't eat when they're not hungry. And if they're never hungry, they just don't eat until they feel like eating something. Some people do that, and that's what works for them. And I would discourage that. But I wouldn't discourage the GLP-1 just because that's the outcome. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what he's saying. Because the outcome is undereating, and undereating is not a good long-term strategy, to scrap the whole GLP-1 strategy. I don't think that that's necessary. I think that's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. You don't have to do that. You just have to teach people better. And like he said, teaching ain't billable. This is where health coaches could come in, right? This is where dietitians could come in. This is where YouTube channels come in to help people get the information that they need. I think that that's about as fair as I can be on that subject. Haagen-Dazs chocolate peanut butter is my jam. I've never had the chocolate peanut butter, but that sounds delicious. I started Zepbound on June 29th. Okay. Chunky Monkey, New York Super Fudge, Raspberry Cheesecake Girl. They were all running camel. I like chocolate on top of chocolate, right? So I would like chocolate ice cream with chocolate brownie and maybe like a chocolate drizzle. I like that. I lost 139 pounds while still letting myself have that single treat. Why not? My PCP practice has rules. She did tell me I could go see an obesity specialist. Of course. Oh, that was your birthday? Happy belated. I feel like my niece was forced into weight loss surgery because her doctor didn't favor GLP for long-term success. She had a really bad, really rough recovery. I think that that's unfortunate. Like, weight loss surgery can be a blessing for some people, but it can be a curse for others. It is not a one size fits all. You know what I mean? And I just think that weight loss surgery has been accepted for so many years that that's what doctors lean toward, but it's not necessary. Weight loss surgery forces a fast. Like it forces you to get really fucking close to a fasted state. So some people just fast instead. Some people just fast instead. Like you literally get to the point where you can't eat. Now, being on a GLP-1, would I say GLP-1 forces you in a fasted state? It can, but oftentimes people will still sneak calories in through soft drinks and things like that. Like that's something that I've struggled with. So you don't often get the benefits of fasting because you're getting your calories from like snacks or soft drinks or whatever. Sweetened coffees was a big deal for me. So like I said, I have gotten to the point of realizing that we just got to have a little bit of humility. We got to humble ourselves a little bit and realize just because we favor one intervention doesn't mean we have to shun others. Like I would never tell a person to not get weight loss surgery, but I would ask, have they considered other things first? Like I could have fasted that's 50 pounds off that I lost. I could have fasted it off. I wasn't motivated to do that though. And weight loss surgery just simply wasn't for me. So this was a better intervention. It just was. I'm at a point now where calorie cutting has reached its limitations for me. If I only wanted to rely on a GLP-1, I would have to stall out for several months and then hope that it would start working for me again. But I mean, calorie cutting is not on purpose, but for this, from the sake of the GLP-1, is how I lost the first 50. But now I'm at a point where it's like, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work for me because I've literally got to the point where I can only cut so much, right? So let's say I followed a traditional calorie cutting regimen, 500 calories per day for 1 pound. But what if I wanted to lose 2 pounds per week based on calories alone? I would have to cut my calories by 1,000 per day if the calorie counters are correct. My maintenance is 1,800 calories. You're telling me that if only calories matter and I just wanted to cut calories, I would have to eat 800 calories a day for umpteen number of months to lose 2 pounds a week? And then what? What happens when I get to my goal and I want to eat 1,800 calories again? Or is it just assumed that because I'm on a GLP-1, I'll never need to eat 1,800 calories again? But here's what Dr. Mindy got right. She said, food is necessary for your skin, your hair, your nails, your overall well-being. We don't want to get to a point where we don't want to eat anything ever at all forever. Like we don't want to be, why would we want to be there? Granted, I know there are some people that appreciate that. Actually, if y'all got a little bit more time, y'all ain't going nowhere. Let's look at Amy and Half real quick because I've been wondering about her, but I haven't done the research. But let's just look at her real quick because I've heard about her, but I haven't looked at her content. But like we don't want to get to the point because food is for more than just like putting on. Is it Amy and Half? Is that her name? We got to look at food as more than just like a vehicle for weight gain. Like there's many other things. Like I know y'all were like complimenting my skin earlier. Thank y'all so much. But it's not just because like I wash my face really well consistently for weeks. That's part of it. But it's like the more that I keep up with my eating, the better it reflects on the outside. When I start under eating consecutively, my skin suffers. You know what I mean? My hair starts to fall out. My nails get brittle and they start breaking. My body gets dry, like hydration, right? I stop hydrating, everything gets dry and brittle, and you know what I mean? So like we got to think about food as a vehicle for nutrition and not just weight gain. That's because they used to be the only weight loss option, but that's not the case anymore. So surgery seemed like it should be a last resort. I would agree as a last resort. I would agree. I was told that immediately after bariatric surgery, type 2 diabetes is reversed. Do you know why that is? I know why it is, but do you know? Exactly. 800 calories is super restrictive. Unless the person stretches their stomach out again, and gives themselves type 2 diabetes again. Haven't had B and J. Oh, Ben and Jerry's is starting Zepbound, but have had ice cream, just haven't desired it. I really can't believe it. I would eat the whole pint in one sitting. Well, congratulations for you. I feel like if you like ice cream, you should have it. If you're not craving it, then you're not craving it. But if you want some, you should have some. And Zepbound will stop you. Like Zepbound will stop you. The things that I restrict are things that I couldn't moderate even on Zepbound, right? Like soda and candy. No matter what I did, I could not moderate it on Zepbound, and wheat. I couldn't moderate it. I'm not gonna lie, I've been off of wheat since August, and I have eaten breaded chicken a couple of times in the past like month, but I suffered for it. Like I would always get like nightmares and depression symptoms and all of that. So with the wheat, it's a bit different. I have like psychological effects behind it, but for like candy and soda, even on Zepbound, I couldn't moderate it, so I just had to get rid of it altogether. Okay, so back to I was told that immediately after bariatric surgery, type 2 diabetes is reversed. Immediately is a stretch, but I would say very quickly. So, what is type 2 diabetes, right? It is a state of like having too high blood sugar over a period of time. Like, how I'll do you one better. How is type 2 diabetes diagnosed? It's diagnosed by the amount of blood sugar, the amount of sugar in your blood over the past 3 months. Okay. Right. So when you are looking at your hemoglobin A1C, you are looking 3 months into the past. So let's say you get your hemoglobin A1C done in January and you are in the type 2 diabetic range, right? And then you have weight loss surgery. And then 3 months later, you get your hemoglobin A1C done again. And it shows that your type 2 diabetes is like in remission, or it's being reversed. Like your A1C is lower. It does take time. Like it does, you get at least a 3-month window to start seeing that reversal. So when you cut out a large part of the stomach and or the intestines, because there's different surgeries, right? When you cut out a large part of the stomach and or the intestines, it almost immediately puts the body as close to a fasted state as you can get. Like fasting would be the most aggressive approach to reversing diabetes, because you're not putting anything in. You're not putting any sugar in, any carbs. You're not putting anything in to raise the blood sugar. So all your body can do is lower it, right? So when you have bariatric surgery, the reason why it's so effective for type 2 diabetes is because you're immediately blunted on how quickly or how often you can refuel with food in general, but especially sugar and carbohydrates. So when they have the surgery, I think for the first month or two, they're on a liquid diet. So all that time is being spent lowering that blood sugar, insulin being more effective. So by the time you get another A1C done, your A1C is lowered. And all diabetes, like the diagnosis, all it is how much, like I said, how much sugar you've had in your blood over the past 3 months. So what is the diabetic A1C range? A1C diabetes range 6.5 or higher. Okay, so the goal for most adults with diabetes is an A1C that is less than 7%. If your A1C is between 5.7 and less than 6.5, your levels have been in pre-diabetes range. If you have an A1C of 6.5 or higher, you're in a diabetic range. Okay, so if you was to get your A1C done and you're at 6.5 or higher, right? Let's say you're at a 7. Let's say you're at 7%. And then you get the surgeries done, and then you get, your A1C done again, and now you're at a 6.4. Technically, you're pre-diabetic, not diabetic. Now, if your A1C is like a 15, it might take longer. But yeah, the reversal starts immediately. It's not like you wake up and you're no longer a diabetic. No, that's not necessarily how it works, because you have to have a 3-month window to even like reflect back on in the first place. So no, it's not gone as soon as you wake up from surgery, but the reversal starts, like the process of it reversing starts immediately because you're not putting the food in to even keep you diabetic in the first place. Type 2 diabetes, not type 1, type 2 diabetes is a dietary issue. It's a hormonal issue, right, with the insulin, but that wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't for the diet. Like, you're not just, like, you don't just end up diabetic. You know what I mean? The blood sugar has to come from somewhere. You don't just end up a type 2 diabetic. The blood sugar is coming from somewhere. 99% of the time, it's coming from the diet. Where else would it be coming from? So that's the answer to that. I love me some Dr. Now. And Dr. Now, over the years, has started incorporating therapy into his intervention so that people don't stretch their stomachs back out. So people do address the reasons that they're eating and the reasons that they gain weight in the first place, because he has learned that surgery alone is not enough. If you just do the surgery alone, some people will fall into a depression because they can't eat as much as they used to cope. Some people will stretch their stomachs back out because of habit, like they just force themselves to overeat, and some people start overeating right after surgery. So they have to have the psychology and the behaviors addressed alongside the surgery. Surgery alone is not enough for some people. So I would never tell people not to get the surgery, but I definitely think we're at a point where, like, we can for the most part, unless you're so heavy that a GLP-1 won't work for you because there's not a high enough dose or the right medication isn't out yet, then I would say that surgery should be a last resort, right? Because, like, if you're 500 pounds, maybe 600 pounds, I don't know if a GLP-1 would work. Like, I'm not sure if it would work on a person that size. But I would love to know the answer. I'd really love to know the answer. But if you can't, like, if a GLP-1 doesn't work for you specifically because of your size, then maybe maybe going straight into surgery is the best answer. So that's the end of their video. I didn't care for it. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I did think that doctor, the one being interviewed, was talking out of his ass a lot. Like, I think that he was talking out of his butt a lot. He was saying a lot. Adult onset diabetes. Well, it used to be. Now the baby's got diabetes too. How do we think that's happening? The babies have diabetes too. The children have it. The babies have it. Type 2 used to be only an adult disease. Now the kids got it. Type 1 is juvenile. Well, it's not adult onset anymore for type 2. The kids have it too. They shouldn't have it. Kids should not have type 2 diabetes because it's something that happens over time. It's supposed to be a slow process that happens over, like, an accumulation of decades. So that's why it's typically called adult onset, but it's not adult onset anymore. Not necessarily, because the kids have it now. Kids have type 2. And type 1 is probably juvenile, because type 1, I think you're born with. I don't know if type 1 is developed. I think you're born with type 1, but y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Have you seen 1,000 Pound Roomies? No, my cousin watched it and asked me if I was going to watch it, and I said no because I wasn't interested. Is it a good show? I watched the 1,000 Pound Sisters, and I thought it was funny. I thought 1,000 Pound Sisters was funny, but I didn't need another 1,000 Pound fill in the blank show. 1,000 Pound Besties, 1,000 Pound Roomies, 1,000 Pound Couple, 1,000 Pound Sisters, 1,000 Pound Brothers, 1,000 Pound Kids, 1,000 Pound Parents. Like, I didn't need another one. I didn't need another one. But was it good? And 1,000 Pound, I'm assuming they're 500 a piece, or 1 is 6, 1 is 4, or something like that. Or they're 6 and 6. Did the GLP-1 work for the person? I'm assuming they were both over 500 pounds. Maybe I need to go watch it. Should I go watch it? Should I watch it? Is it worth watching? I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is that watchable? I didn't think it was going to be interesting. I really didn't. I didn't think it was gonna be interesting. But I mean, I don't know. 6 and 4. So the who had the GLP-1, I would assume it would work for the sister that was closer to 400, but the 6, I don't know. Or roommates. Type 1 you are born with. I thought so. Yeah. Type 1 you are born with. Type 2 you develop because it is a lifestyle-based disease. It doesn't just show up. It's develops over time. So if you're getting it younger, that means like the kids are getting it faster, which means that something is happening before they're born. So it could be their genetics, it could be what's happening during the pregnancy, but more than likely it's based on what they're being fed when they're born. Like I know fat babies are cute. Oh, they're so cute. It's so cute. But fat is not benign. Subcutaneous fat can be benign. Visceral fat is not benign. Visceral fat is not benign, even on a baby. It's not benign. Babies should not be 15, 20 pounds overweight. They shouldn't. Neither should toddlers, right? Like we talked about this before. Like when we were growing up, well, okay, some of y'all, well, most of y'all are older than me. So I would say those growing up in like the 80s, there was probably like one fat kid in the class, and it was probably you. Probably you. Like 70s, 80s, there's probably one fat kid. It was probably you. When I was growing up in the early 2000s, there was about 3 or 4 in one class, and I was one of them. I had a friend, he had type 1, and so did his mother. It was hereditary. Yes, born with it. And yes, I didn't want to say that about type 2. Why not? That makes you uncomfortable? Let's be uncomfortable. It's a lifestyle disease. It is. Just like obesity. Except with obesity, you can become obese based on like certain medical conditions or drugs that you're using, right? Like a steroid. So with obesity, there are things that can influence your way to obesity, like multiple things. But when it comes to type 2 diabetes, that is sheer lifestyle. That is sheer diet. Like, because when you reverse the diet or stop eating via fasting, the type 2 diabetes reverses. It reverses. And if you start going back to what gave you diabetes in the first place, you'll get it again. Like I was pre-diabetic. I think pre-diabetic is 5.7 to 6.5. I was like 5.8, 5.9. I went to my doctor and told her I got my blood work done. And I looked at my results and my A1C was over 5.7. And I said, hot damn, I'm pre-diabetic. Why didn't my doctor say something? What you gonna do? Wait until I'm diabetic to say something, and then you want to put me on metformin? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're just gonna wait? You're just not gonna say anything. You're just not gonna say anything. So I made a decision to get on a GLP-1. And when I did tell my doctor about it, I was like, well, I was talking to my doctor about metformin because I was thinking about combining the two. I decided not to do it. But she was like, well, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I went to her to try to get approval for Mounjaro after I had already started Compound. But Mounjaro was only approved for diabetics. And I was like, well, I'm pre-diabetic. Let's see what they say. I went to my doctor and told her I was pre-diabetic. She had my blood work. She didn't come to me and say, hey, you're pre-diabetic. We need to talk. She didn't do that. And then she recommended metformin as a combined therapy. And I just never took it. The side effects of metformin are crazy. Shockingly, I wasn't a fat kid. Didn't gain weight until about 14. Same here, Mona Lisa. Yes, Holly, those teen years, the weight hit me hard. And then as an adult, okay, maybe I should have specified when I said kid. I mean, okay, so teenagers, y'all wouldn't consider a kid. Okay, so kid, let's say elementary school. Okay, so So some of y'all weren't fat in elementary school. Y'all weren't the fat kid in elementary school. Okay, so if the fat kid wasn't you, how many fat kids did you have in your class? I doubt it was more than 2, depending on your age. Like if you're over 40, I doubt you had more than 2 visibly, obviously fat, not chubby, but like fat kids in your class. What do y'all think? I think a guy who was 700 pounds plus 700 plus pounds was interviewed on the downsize, and he used GLP-1 to lose about 350 so far. Wow. Maybe I'm wrong. I would have thought that people that high up in weight would have had problem like getting the GLP-1 to work. Like I would have thought there's not a dose high enough, but maybe that's just me being uninformed. That's good to know. Congratulations to him. I wonder if he made it all the way up to like the 15 milligram if he was on Zepbound or Compound or whatever. But how many fat kids did y'all have in your class in elementary school? If you weren't the fat kid, how many fat kids did y'all have in the class? I highly doubt it was more than 2, but y'all can prove me wrong. Y'all can prove me wrong. And like the stream if you haven't already. Brindle diabetes is juvenile diabetes. Pancreas does not produce enough insulin. Yep. You're born with that. Maybe there are some rare cases when it can be developed, but I think for the most part, type 1 diabetics are born with it. Which is why so what happened was when insulin was discovered, it was life-saving for type 1 diabetics because there was no intervention for type 1 diabetes. They would just die. Like there was no intervention because they couldn't hold on to any body weight and their body didn't produce enough insulin. You need insulin in order to store body fat. So when insulin was discovered, it was a godsend for type 1 diabetics. The problem with that is they need the insulin because they don't produce enough. With type 2 diabetes, the science and medical industry fields just assume the same intervention was necessary, and it is not. They just gave the insulin to the type 2 diabetics to lower the blood sugar when that was never the problem in the first place. They have plenty of insulin. The type 2 diabetics, they have plenty of insulin. Why is it not working? That's the question. Why is it not working? They have it. It's there. Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? So those are the questions that were being asked in the past 10 years, which is why people started to focus on insulin resistance and low carb and fasting and all, like, address the insulin, don't give insulin. We already have enough insulin. We have too much of the insulin. We got to lower the insulin. That's why we keep storing so much body fat, because we have insulin. It's too high. It's not that it's not enough. It's too high and it's not working. Why is it not working? Why is the sugar staying in the blood instead of going into the cell for fuel like it should? So that's what that is. You don't remember fat kids in your class? Jen, are you in your 40s yet? Jen, you act like you're still in your 20s. It's like, for real. Jen has such a young soul. You don't remember any fat kids in your class? Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I thought like I think Delilah said she had one fat kid in the class. Some people, because I asked this question before, some people had at least one. Well, it depends on when you were growing up. Honestly, if you were going to school in the 70s, maybe you didn't have any fat kids in the class. But if you were in elementary school in the 90s, maybe you did. Because I think the obesity epidemic started in what? The 80s? I think it started in the 80s. I think the bigger they are, the more successful. Just a thought. On a GLP-1, maybe. Maybe. What are we defining as success, though? Like, if I only have 100 pounds to lose and a person has 400 pounds to lose, are they more successful because they lost more weight? I don't think that's the right way to look at that. I think that's like a false comparison. Or do you think that they're a better responder because they're heavier? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I think there is a genetic component to type 2 as well. Maybe predisposition. My husband and 4 of his siblings are diabetic. So is his mom, but they are not all overweight. His sister is petite. Yes, I believe that common knowledge is that, not knowledge, but the consensus is that there is a genetic component. They just don't know what it is. If I had to guess, right? If your kids are part of you. Like they take what you got going on and you make a little them. So that would make sense, right? Like it would make sense for there to be a genetic component. There also makes sense for it to be a genetic component of obesity. I just think that, like, because not all type 2 diabetics are overweight, right? Not all type 2 diabetics are overweight. But for the most part, with the weight comes type 2 diabetes. With type 2 diabetes comes the weight. Like a lot of times they go hand in hand. You can have, like, not all overweight people are type 2 diabetics. I've been overweight my whole life. My brother's a type 2 diabetic, so was his father. I did not develop type 2 diabetes, but I would have eventually. I was pre-diabetic. I was on my way, and that was 100% my lifestyle. Well, I can't say 100%, maybe 99%, because my dad is a type 2 diabetic. My dad is a type 2, my mom was not. So I am predisposed to type 2 diabetes based on my dad being a diabetic. But diabetes does not have to be my fate. This is why I say it is a lifestyle disease. Just because your parents had type 2 doesn't mean you are destined to have it, is what I feel. Like it's not an automatic diabetic a sentence to diabetes. 46. Okay, so what year are we in? I was trying to do math in my head. It's not working. So you would have been in elementary school in the 80s? Holly, see, that's why you wasn't the fat kid in your class. Where there wasn't no fat kid. Holly, wasn't no fat kids. The obesity epidemic hadn't started yet. Maybe more motivated. I don't know if GLP-1 and motivation goes together. But okay, I don't know. I think that predisposition is true, Kim. My dad and his mom were both T2D. 0. You're 68, of course. Like, 25, 35, 45, 55. Yeah, like we're talking about like before the 60s? No way. No way. Were you born in like 54? Oh, well, you don't have to tell me. But I doubt it. Like there was no inkling of an obesity epidemic by that time. Yes, V, because my mama and grandmother has it, but my father doesn't, and neither do I. Right. Right. They have type 2D. Yeah, like you're not, it's not fate to have it, right? Let's say it's like there's a genetic component, right? Being predisposed, predisposed, but that just, to me, that just means like if you have the information, you have to you kind of have to pay closer attention to your lifestyle and your diet. Like I don't think it's genetic in the way that like schizophrenia is genetic, right? That's a hard one to dodge. Psychological disorders are a hard one to dodge genetically. Even if they show up later, it's a tough cookie to dodge. The psychological disorders, it's a tough one, but you're not like, and you can't really do much to prevent those. Like there's not a lot of prevention research out there. You can do a lot to pay attention to the signs and symptoms, but once they start to show, like you are at the mercy of management at that time of those symptoms. Like you can do what you can to keep those symptoms at bay. But psychological disorders, it's a tough cookie to dodge. But metabolic disorders, right? Chronic diseases, You can be predisposed. Why I keep saying that? Predisposed. So you have a higher likelihood, but it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee. And you can do things that are preventative for type 2 diabetes, like what I did. I am predisposed because my dad has it, right? I spent most of my life, approximately 30 years, being obese, and I decided to intervene before I became a diabetic. Now, could I have become a diabetic and then reversed it? Sure, but why go through all of that? Like I've reversed my pre-diabetes, you know what I mean? So I got the blueprint to get myself the diabetes, you know what I mean? But I don't have to go there. Like I don't have to get it. But yeah, not all type 2 diabetics are obese. But that doesn't still mean like the insulin issue still exists. So it still is a dietary issue, even if you aren't gaining the weight, right? Like it's still a blood sugar issue. Where is the blood sugar coming from? It's coming from what you put in your mouth. So whether you end up obese or not, type 2 diabetes is a disease of lifestyle and diet. It just is. You don't put the sugar in, you never have blood sugar that's too high. Like, how else do you get blood sugar that's too high? It's not type 2 isn't an insulin problem. It's not an insulin problem as in you don't have enough of it, but they give people insulin to force the blood sugar down because those people have gotten to levels that are dangerous. And instead of doing a dietary intervention or a fasting intervention or a GLP-1 intervention, maybe now they do the GLP-1s for those people, but they'll just give them insulin to force the blood sugar down because their insulin is so ineffective, like that they're producing naturally. So that's what it is. Hey now, V, my dad is schizophrenic and bipolar. So what are you trying to say about me? I'm saying that, Nicole, I don't know how to tell you this, but like you totally have problems. I'm just Nicole, you should go get checked. Nah, I'm just saying they're hard to dodge. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. They're hard to dodge. They're not impossible to dodge, but they're hard. Like there is a strong, I mean a strong genetic link to schizophrenia, but you don't get every gene from your parents, but you're highly likely to get it with schizophrenia. Like you're highly likely. I think bipolar as well. I don't know if my mom had any psychological disorders. Are they called disorders or diseases? Is it a disease? I don't know. I don't know. Like for those who know, my mom has passed away like over a decade ago. So I don't know if that was a thing with her. Because I'll be swearing I got like ADHD, like somebody diagnosed me with Tourette's on my stream the other day. Little bit of depression, a little bit of like I'm pretty sure I have like a grab bag of stuff going on with a vanity cherry on top, little vein chocolate syrup on top. I'm pretty sure I got a grab bag. Like put your hand in the bag, pull out some ADHD. Squirrel. It's like my attention span is like zip that zong. I got anxiety. I'm not medicated for anything, but I got a little bit of like a mental health soup going on. I got a little bit of a mental health soup going on. Yes, I do. What, Nicole? I'm just saying. You asked. There were no fat kids in my class. Of course, I got the pictures. 57. I was close. 54. My mom got you by 3 years. My dad got you by 1 year. So yeah, that makes perfect sense. When I said that most of y'all probably were the fat kid in the class, I didn't consider the age. I didn't consider the age differences. if you were growing up in the 90s, you probably had, like, if you were in elementary school in the 90s, you probably had a fat kid in the class. If you were in elementary school in the 80s, there's a good chance there was one fat kid and it probably was you. If you are obese now, you might have been that fat kid in the 80s, or you at least knew one fat kid. I was just about to ask you if you went and checked Holly. Oh, I got the pictures. I believe Holly. I do. What? You know, elementary school in the 60s? Forget about it. Fat where? Like, that was like unheard of. If you were a girl and your stomach was puffy, people would be asking if you were pregnant. There you go. No, it's just gas. I'm not pregnant, guys. Sheesh. I just haven't gone to the bathroom in a couple of days. Like, that's so embarrassing. That is so embarrassing. I wonder how girls hid their pregnancies in the 60s. I'm pretty sure baggy sweaters was like an 80s and 90s thing. I wonder how they did it in the 60s, 70s, 60s. No, 60s in particular. I'd say 50s, 60s. How did young women hide their pregnancies? I'm pretty sure in the Black community, you just got sent to a different part of the country. I shouldn't laugh at that. But I'm pretty sure in like the 50s and 60s, if you got pregnant too young, like I'm talking about like teenage years young, they just sent you away to go live with family elsewhere and hide you. I'm pretty sure that was a thing. Anybody? I got any Black people that grew up in the 50s that would know, 60s? Oh my God. I start acting stupid when I'm tired. I really want to know what this protein shake tastes like. Did y'all see my iced coffee that I made earlier? It was so delish. I used almond milk, the milk, and then I did a splash of the creamer for the sweetness. That's the right combination. Just doing straight creamer, it tastes like oil. But I did a splash of the almond milk creamer with some cold foam, some non-dairy cold foam on top, little cinnamon sugar. It was delicious. Or kicked out of the house. That's what I'm saying. Was that not just a Black thing? Did like everybody do that? You just got kicked out or sent away or I don't know. Whatever. Why are we talking? See, Holly, no, we're not gonna do this. Like, and then I'd be like, Holly, where have you been all my life? You'd be like, right here, baby. See, no, we are a problematic pair. You see where we went? You see how we just segued like that? Like, we are a problematic pair. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up. I did not want to go over 3 hours, but I did. And I'm not gonna edit this. I was going to, but I'm not going to. I am carless, which means that I no longer have a life. Which means y'all might get a Saturday stream, but I don't know because I really should finish that video. Even though the doctor stole all of my ideas, some people need to see what I'm saying in it that haven't seen the live stream. Also, for those that don't know, I weighed in at 183 pounds on Monday. Now, Jen asked, was my weight working as far as high fat? And can I clear something up? I don't necessarily mean high fat. High fat is keto, which would be about 70%. When I say high fat, I'm higher than the low fat people. Like low fat people would try to keep like less than 20% fat in their diet, probably less than 10%. When I say high fat, I mean, I don't avoid it, right? Like if it comes with the protein, it just comes with it. I don't really add extra in, like extra butter, extra oil, extra this. I don't add in extras. I just eat foods as they come. Eat the skin with the chicken. If I was drinking milk, I would drink it whole. If it comes with fat, it just comes with it. That's what I meant by that. Now, I've lost 2 pounds is what I was getting at. I know that was like I just lost my train of thought. But so to answer your question, Jim, I need to go to sleep. To answer your question, Jim. Jennifer, to answer your question, I will be laughing about that for the rest of the night now. To answer your question, Jim. Okay. Yeah, I would say it's working. I did a 21-hour fast, and I've been slowly lowering my carbs over the past couple of days. So my fat hasn't gone up. It's actually gone down now that I'm eating less dairy. So it hasn't gone up. It's just I guess saying high fat, it was a bit of a misnomer, to clear that up. But yes, I would say that my approach for this month is working, because I'm not even a week in and I'm already 2 pounds down. Now, if I eat a pack of cookies, that 2 pounds is probably going to come back. But the point is to not eat the cookies, right? Not for me anyway. Like, I really wanted to order some gluten-free Oreos, but I've been tearing gluten-free Oreos up. Gluten-free Oreos and Rice Krispie treats, and occasionally some potato chips with gluten-free pretzels. It has been my snack choices. So I'm trying to stay away from the Oreos. I just finished my last Rice Krispie treat tonight. I'm not going to buy any more. Maybe we'll see. And I still got some chips to get through, but I'm trying to get rid of snacking. I don't have a problem with snack foods. I just need to eat them at the right time. Like, I need to eat them alongside my meal and not in between. And I need to pick better snack foods. So I'm 2 pounds down. For the first time in 2 months, I am below 183 pounds. Yes, Sydney, I lost 2 pounds. I started on Monday. I weighed in at 183.5. I weighed in today at 181.6. And technically, my weigh-in isn't until Monday. So I could weigh in Monday and be 180, 179. That is a combination of me fasting and staggering my carbs down. I didn't just automatically cut them, because I still like my snacks, but I've been lowering them over the past couple of days. So I think this last 21 hours just really pushed me to that 2 pounds. I think it did. So I would say it's working. I would say it's working. That did look delicious. It was delicious. Oh God, Nicole, when can we get together and make coffee? Nicole, I don't know where you are. Nicole, what part of the country are Nicole? I don't know where you are. Where are you, Nicole? My grandmother told me stories. LOL. We should not laugh at this. You got sent away. We should not. My mother had my sister at 14. My mother had my oldest sister at 13. Wild time. My mother, so that would have been in the 60s. My mom had my sister at 13. Wild time. But her parents were already gone, so she didn't get sent away. She kind of had to take care of herself. Oh, no, wait, she was 14. I'm sorry, she was 14. My mom had my oldest sister at 14, 15, 14, 14, 14, 14. But her parents were already gone, so she had to take care of herself. Mania? What's Mania? What's Mania? In 5 days. Yes, very much so. Thank you, guys. They were sent to Memphis to a girl's home. Wow. Go Tush Push. Go Tush Push. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It is the Tush Push, people. It is. Like, I'm like we need to watch a. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I don't know why I didn't think of this. For those that don't know what it is. Okay. Okay, let me show y'all this. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Oh God, it's on the NFL page. Ah. I'm not gonna monetize it, so maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe it'll be okay. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna show it. Oh my God, I hope they don't. Oh my God, I hope they don't get me. I hope they don't get me. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm gonna show y'all this for the non-football people, because I'm not one of them, but Tommy's a huge Eagles fan, so I at least know the Tush Push. Okay, so if you've heard me reference the Tush Push, me describing my October as this being my Tush Push toward getting out of obesity, it's like the last, not last, but it's like the moment right before the touchdown where you gotta go like that much further. Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Let me show y'all. It might be hard to see, but let me try to show y'all what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so at first you're going to see them get really close to a touchdown, and then you're going to see what happens when they get stopped before they make it to the touchdown. Okay.
Blitz coming. Hurts gets rid of it. Brown underneath has a way to go. And he's going to have the first down, I think. Looks like he's got it. First and goal. Brotherly.
Okay, hold on. Can I slow this down? Playback speed. Let's go. No, not 1.5. I want to go slower. Okay. So they need to get over the goal line. They need to get into the end zone. So watch what they do.
Brotherly shove again. Hurts is in. Touchdown.
You see how they pushed their way in? They didn't just accept the fact that they weren't getting the touchdown. Let's go back. Let's go back.
Hurts is in. Brotherly shove again. Hurts is in. Again. Hurts is.
They called it the brotherly shove. The brotherly shove. Hold on. You see how they just push in? Touchdown. Touchdown. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about a tush push, baby. It's the tush push, baby. I'm going to get my touchdown. I'm going to get my touchdown. Now, it might not be 14 pounds touchdown. But you know what I mean? Like, if I make it over 10 pounds this month, I'm going to consider the tush push a success. Okay? All right? Cleveland. That's far. That is so far. My grandmother had my aunt at 13 and got kicked out of the house. Like, why? We need to talk about our grandparents and great grandparents. Like, why? Time for a shower. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Oh, thanks, Kim. I must be high fat because I add all the extra fat. What do you mean? Like, you add butter? Like, I don't. When I say I don't add, right? If I was still eating dairy, I would cook with butter. But I wouldn't Darlene the situation, right? Like, so if something called for a tablespoon of butter, I'm not going to like figure out a way to get the extra tablespoon in there, or I'm not going to add an extra tablespoon of butter on top. I'm not going to drink tablespoons of olive oil or avocado oil or MCT oil. Like that type of deal. You're on the right track to get 10 pounds down. Oh, yes, I am, but I don't want to get too big headed. You know, I'm a little vain, so I'm not trying to brag, but I was excited. I was excited. This is the first time in months that I've been below 183 pounds. When I got to 185 2 months ago, that was the first time I had been below 187 in about 7 years, maybe 10. Don't play with the NFL. Oh my God, you're so right. I should totally like cut out that whole portion of the video. They'll let me know. YouTube will let me know if the content is a problem. They'll let me know. They'll let me know. They're not gonna like destroy my channel over a couple of seconds of it. I hope not. This is why you guys gotta follow me on Instagram, because if y'all look up one day and ain't no more vanity, what y'all gonna do? Like, I mean, I'm gonna come back with another channel, but maybe I should. How do y'all feel about a backup channel? Have y'all ever known a YouTuber that you really, really liked and they got kicked off of YouTube? Has that happened to not happened to y'all, but have y'all experienced that with a YouTuber that you like? Because I've experienced this so many times where YouTubers are like, Jen, we were talking about Nyla. Taz and Nyla have lost so many channels. And it's like, luckily they have backup channels, so you can like always find them again, but they have gotten kicked off so many goddamn times. So I'd be scared that that's going to happen to me. So, I mean, how do y'all feel about a backup channel? Like, not waiting, like not starting one later, like, oh, if I get kicked off and coming back with another channel. Like, how do y'all feel about already having a channel up? Me already having a channel up, so if something was to happen to my channel, y'all know where to find me. Because I always just say have my email or Instagram so you know where to find me. But not everybody follows me on Instagram, and not everybody pays attention to the whole email situation. So I don't know. I'm considering a backup channel early and putting content on there, but I can't I got to get consistent with this first. I can barely be consistent with this, so I don't want to add another channel to the mix. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you, Reindeer, for the recommendation. I think those doctors need to shut up and just encourage their patients that want to use GLP-1s, help them get through it. Okay, shut the hell up. Stop trying to fearmonger the fat people out of using GLP-1s if you're not going to fearmonger against the type 2 diabetics. All right, this is an equal opportunity drug. Okay, so that's how I feel about that. So I'm going to say goodnight. And I was talking about how like I might give y'all a stream tomorrow, but it depends on what I'm going to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about Dr. Jason Fung tomorrow. I got to finish my video. I really should finish my video. So I'll do that. Oh, and I got distracted talking about the 2 pounds. Okay, so I'm 2 pounds down. So assuming it doesn't come back, that leaves me with 12 pounds to go for October. And we're on the 3rd day. We got 27 days left. No, we got 28 days left. Do y'all think I can do it? Should I start a poll? There's only 9 of y'all here. Okay, hold on. I'll start the poll and then I'll go. This will be fun. This will be fun. So if you're still listening, hang in there with me for like 5 more minutes, not even like 3 more minutes. Let me start this poll. Let me start this poll. Okay, so let's see. Let me do this last poll. Jen said there should be a hell no option. So let's put, no, that was Nicole. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and cast your votes, people. Go ahead and cast your votes, people. You didn't answer my question earlier unless you answered while I fell asleep. You fell asleep? Is this the new house sit? How many pets? Oh no, I didn't see your question. I've been here before. I've been to this house before, so this is a repeat, and it's 2 kitty witties. It's two kitty witties, and they are a pain in my rump only because one runs from me when it's time to get his pill, and the other one wants to live in the garage. And it's like, I cannot monitor you in there. She has a cat tree in the garage and she wants to live in there. She will meow all day until I let her in there. So no, this is a repeat. I love this house. I will be house sitting for, like, I already have 2 more house sits here because I love this house so much. Like, this is like my second. I have one that essentially have already committed to me as their house sitter as long as I'm available. If I'm not available, then they will look for someone else. But I already have one, which is the one that I just left. If they call, I'm a coming. This is the second place. Like, this is the other place. It's like, if they call me, I'm a coming. It is a beautiful home. Like, I was just kind of like opening doors today, and I didn't realize, like, they have an office that I don't use. Typically, I only use someone's office if they have a monitor in there for me to use. But if they don't have a monitor, then I just sit wherever. Here, I sit at the table back there. But this time I bought my monitor with me. And I have been working at this table. I was like, let me go see if I'll be comfortable in the office. I went in that office and it had a whole extra bathroom. I said, this house got 3 bathrooms, like 3 full baths. There was a whole extra bathroom. I was like, I should work in here. I should. But I was just opening doors, like noticing the closet space, and it's a beautiful home. It is a beautiful home. Only started following content creators on YouTube when I started Zepbound. Okay. All right. So y'all are probably not like big YouTube people. And then like something else with house sits, they all leave their master bedroom open. Even if that's not where I'm sleeping, like some houses, they give you the master bedroom to sleep in. Or they let you choose. But for most of them, they have a guest room that they automatically tell you, like, here, go sleep in there. But they all leave their master bedroom open. So I'll be nosy. Like, I go in there and I look, not in their stuff, but I like to look at like how nice and big master bedrooms are. And I love to look at like a nice big fancy master bath. Like, and if your only bathtub in the house is in the master bath, that's what I'm going to use. And they're fine with it. Like, if I need to soak, if I need an Epsom salt soak because I've been working out and the only tub in the whole house is in that bathroom, that's the one that I'm going to use. So the house that I usually like to go to, That's how it is there. I have a shower in my room, but I need to soak, so I go to the bathroom. I don't know. I love house sitting, you know. I love it. I love it. So I'll be here 2 more times this year. I have a long house sit here in December. It's about 2.5 weeks long, almost 3 weeks. And I've been discriminating, guys. I've been leaning more toward cats only because I'm kind of over the dogs waking me up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm kind of over it. It's not good for my schedule. I get off at 1 o'clock in the morning. And as much as I love dogs, it really does cause sleep deprivation for me when I have to get up at 6:30 in the morning to either let them out or walk them. It ruins me. It really ruins me. Like, at least with cats, I can get up at 8 or 9 o'clock. If they're quieter cats, 10 is what I'm aiming for. But the ones that know when it's time to eat, they wake me up around 8 and 9 o'clock. So yeah, but I didn't do a house sitting video for this one because I had been here before, but maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I should do one. So keep an eye out for that, Sydney. All right, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. It's been real. I always love you all and appreciate y'all rocking out with me. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the stream, consider subscribing, and keep an eye out. Make sure your notifications are set, of course, for future videos and live streams. And I will see y'all in the next one, which will probably be tomorrow. Okay. Love you all. Bye. Good night, guys. Bye.